Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy Dave at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, Ireland's biggest legend, bringing you stats with Jack for tomorrow's massive game, Tottenham versus Liverpool. Well, we welcome them to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I cannot wait. It is like Christmas Eve. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I absolutely hate Liverpool. Mo Salah diving down the wing, the diving king. Hopefully, we can spank them, beat the odds, and send them back all the way to Liverpool crying to Santa Claus for a penalty from VAR. But we are joined by the main man himself who brings everything to this show, and it's Mr. Jack from Flat Cap. Jack, how are you keeping, my man?
Keeping well, David. Air to Berlin just smacked, Dortmund, today, as well. I'd like to see maybe the Spurs, smack a bit of the, the Scouse scum tomorrow as well, tomorrow, David, as well. Like you said, kind of the diving Liverpool. I remember a Liverpool fan the other day just texted me, can you believe Man City got that penalty versus Wolves? And then look what happens. He shuts up right away the moment Salah gets that penalty, the same day. So, David, I feel like this is just a great opportunity just to punch a team in the mouth. We kind of have nothing really to lose, I feel like, in this match. Just sad, like maybe one of the better teams in the Premier League. If we were to get a result like this, David, I mean, it's going to be top four, Riders Cup, American Idol, Champions League. We're just going to be winning every trophy if we win tomorrow, Dave.
Nah, look, the odds are stacked against us. Let's not lie about it. But look, I'll be honest with you. I hate Liverpool. All my friends are Liverpool. My sister's fella's Liverpool. And honestly, I cannot bear him coming over Christmas night with a big smug on his grin on his face. I will be shaking him and choking him like the turkey if they beat us. So I really want to smack them this week. I really do. I really, look, I'll be happy with a point. A point for me is brilliant because I know they'll all be upset with a point. So then I can just rub it in. But this one is the one I really want to win most. I cannot wait for this. But look, Dark Son G's another person, Jack, or, his father's a Liverpool fan. It's tough on him. Matty Hayes' father is a Liverpool fan. So, in them households, I really do fear it this Christmas. But look, let's see what Harris Army and Flat Cap Army we have in the building to join us tonight. We have Dark Son G. Big up, brother. I hope you're keeping well. He says, come on, you Spurs. I hope we get a good result against Liverpool. This time, I hope we can exploit Liverpool's defence without Virgil van Dijk and Fabinho and score goals. Liverpool without those two lose 30% firepower, in my opinion. No, look, they're definitely losing threat from set pieces. But what I will also say is we played them last year. They didn't have any centre-backs available. I think they played Henderson and someone else centre-back. Henderson and that kid, that wannabe Virgil van Dijk. So, it's... And interesting enough, Daxon G, I was doing a bit of research for the game this weekend. And a lot of Liverpool's top tacklers are all their attacking players. So, maybe... I'm just saying maybe a bit of a long ball situation tomorrow might be the way to get ahead of that. Tottenham Tantrum Gold is in the building. He says, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening. The legend is the one and only David Huddle, Irish Hotspur Harris, and his partner in crime, legend Jack Waddleman Kanicki. That's what I'm talking about.
Big up, Dermot.
Says, come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army, and come on, you Spurs. Let's have it, Dermot. Big yourself up. Kuva99 says it's 9 p.m., 11 people waiting, at least one of them eating breadsticks with peanut butter. Hashtag stats with Kuva. Absolutely love it. What are your stats?
Change it to Nutella. Have a bit of Nutella with those breadsticks instead. Kuva, treat yourself, my man.
Absolutely love it. Chris Agenbar says, big up, guys. Hope your weekend is good. It's always good, my man. Never a bad weekend around this place, my man. Hopefully yours is good too. We also have Noah Jurgens. Can't wait. Big yourself up.
Big up, Noah.
Pamalam, the sister, is in the house. Fiona Harris. Hashtag Harris Army. Hashtag Davy Boy. And a big shout out to that niece of mine, Keela, as well, if she's watching. I hope you're keeping well. And make sure you're good this week. Santa is watching you. So make sure you are good. And tell that boyfriend of yours, Dave, shares the same name as me, not to turn up at Christmas if Liverpool beat us. Thank you. Spurs 7 says, big up all. I'm so excited to see Spurs back. Can't wait. Big up Spurs 70. We have John Smith, Mugs. Liverpool are mugs, man. That's what I'm talking about. Dan N says, RIP Jack, having to do all his research only for the game to inevitably be called off an hour before kickoff. Dan, don't do it, man. My fingers are crossed, lad. They are crossed. This game better go ahead. I cannot take any more heartbreak.
What's it been?
Won a few games.
what's it been, Dan? I think Burnley was one of them that, disappointed me. The other one,
Leicester.
I think there's another one, Leicester. There could have been another one before in this season already as well. And then now, potentially Liverpool's, it's tough, Dan. It is, it's tough to be let down like that. You just, you become an expert on such a team, and then all of a sudden it's kind of for no use at all. So, Dan, hopefully this time it does happen.
Yeah,
Big
no,
up, Dan.
big up, Dan. And Dark Sun G at 6 a.m. in Korea. The game is at 1:30 a.m. for me. Not a bother to you, Dark Sun G, my man. Can of Red Bull or a can of that Monster Energy, lad. Not one of them back. You'll be buzzing till 3:30, 4:30 a.m., my man. Big up, Dark Sun G.
What a loyal man.
He is. Honestly, I'd say Dark Sun G can't wait to give it to the father once he beats him. Can't wait. Derek Hutchinson, big up, David and Jack. Let's give the source something to think about, or the scouts something to think about. Exactly, my man. I could not agree more. Could not agree more. You sing it, Spurs 7, Antonio. That's what I'm talking about, my man. Fiona Harris says, well, bro, well, Jack, big up, Fee. We have Ian Ferguson. Let's go, boys. Big up, Ian. We have Emily Dunn in the building. She's saying, hey to Fiona. Big up, Emily. John Stokes, evening, Dave, evening, Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Hate the salad. Yeah, more Salah diving down the wing, lad. King of it. Big up, Joe Grimes. He says, Conte Masterclass incoming. Come on, you Spurs. Look,
big up, Joe.
Speaking to Jack beforehand, according to the rest of the Premier League, we just wanted this period off. So I'm sure Conte would have used that as a bit of a pre-season. And maybe as a plan laying and waiting for Liverpool. Whether we have the caliber of the players to execute the plan is a different story. But we shall wait and see. But big up, Joe. It's good to see you tuning in, brother. And hopefully college work is going good for you, my man.
Big up, Joe.
Spurs 72. Hiya, Jack and David. Big up, chat. Big yourself up, Spurs 72.
Legend.
We also have Paro Miguel Escobardo. He said all the way from Lagos in Nigeria. He says, good evening, fam. Big up the dynamic duo. Big up.
Big up yourself, Paro. Big up yourself, Paro. The absolute legend he is.
Dave Tyson's in the building. He says, evening, lads. Big up, Davey boy. I hope you're keeping well, my man. We also have fans. Radfar, big up, lads. Tough game tomorrow, but in Conte, we believe could be Harry's day. Come on, you Spurs. And if it is Harry's day, I have a nice song waiting for after the game, and then I'll be doing it on the fan show on We Are Tottenham TV for Harry Kane as well. I might even record it and send it to him. I might even get my haircut like him this Christmas. Who knows? We'll wait and see. But big up, Fast Radfar. Hope you're keeping well.
Big up, Faz.
Yeah, no, if they win, my phone will be off and I'll be MIA until at least Christmas Eve. So that won't be happening. We have Name a King 2-1 Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Name a King. I'll absolutely love it. Let's have it. Let's have it. Let's beat them Scousers tomorrow. I hate them so bad. Honestly, I can't even hold it in anymore. I can't. I hate them so bad. They just, look, that year they won the league, it was a farce. Every game they were sitting there looking for 10 minutes with their telescopes, looking to give them a penalty. Absolutely fed up with it. You have Mo Salah, the king of diving. You know what I mean? You have that little squirm. And Firmino, he just saves his goals for Tottenham. Does not score all season long, and then the one at Tottenham. But what really kills me is the Champions League final. And that's when I knew. I was just like, look, they're just dying for Liverpool to win it. You know what I mean? The Champions League final call for the penalty, absolutely ridiculous. As you can see, it's starting to boil over. I just hate them. Spaghetti Slayer says, let's get Klopp sacked tomorrow. That'd be nice. That'd be very nice. Should set you free. Big up, my man. He's in the building. My man, I hope you're keeping well.
Big up.
Don Anthony's in the house as well. Big up, Don Anthony. Ben Kaufman's in. Good evening, fellas. Good evening, Ben. I hope you're having a good day, my man. John Smith, Jota Mane, 2-0 Liverpool. Yeah, look, hopefully that's not the case, my man. Hopefully Mane picks up an injury maybe in the first 1 or 2 minutes. And hopefully Diogo Jota, hopefully he just goes missing. Hopefully he has a shift in McDonald's or something tomorrow at that time. Rodney Charles in the building. Kane will score tomorrow. Got that feeling. Not even going to comment on the guy. Not even going to do it today. It's not the day. I'm just going to wait until he does it. Zanuska Ramshunder says, good evening, guys. Big up, Zanuska. Hope you're
legend.
It's good to see you in. Same as Mac. Come on, you Spurs. 2-1 win tomorrow. Big up, Max. Good to see you in, my man. Who else have we got? Good man, Joe. It's good. Good to see it. Good to can't wait to have you on Monday as well, my man.
Dark Sun G.
Dark Sun G with the super chat. Wow, big up, Dark Sun G. Just give me 1 minute, Dark Sun G. I'll get back to it. We have Side Dancer THFC. All right, lads, hoping for something big for the lads tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs. No, look, we've had a bit of a rest period, so we should be firing hopefully Rabin Rashid, we will beat Liverpool tomorrow. That's what I'm talking about, my man. Absolutely loving it. You got to believe. You just have to believe. Light work is in the building. Big up, Light work. I hope you're keeping well, my man. And we also have Graham in the building as
Big
well.
up, Graham.
Big up, Graham. Dark Sun G, he says, let's get a good result against Liverpool and smash the Hammers in the Carabao Cup this week with their shattered defence. If we can get good result for these 2 games, top 4 plus trophy. Look,
wow.
You know, I always said all season long, there's no reason why we can't make top 4. We finished 5 points off it last year. Go back and look at the show me and Jack done on the Flat Cap Your Talk about the Premier League. I remember saying to him, there will be one big club that will be in trouble, and that's our spot that we can go and grab. So look, let's see if we can go and do it, Dark Sun G. Look, we even get a draw against Liverpool tomorrow, and we knock the Hammers out of the cup. We get Arsenal in the semi-finals if they beat Sunderland. Let Chelsea and Liverpool play each other. I'll be up for that, my man. I'm happy with that, Dark Sun G. You know, it's definitely Christmas if that happens. Jack, would you be happy with that?
No, I'd certainly be happy with that, Dave. And even to make ourselves feel a bit better, especially when it comes to the other scum, the Arsenal, Dave, we probably can't play any worse than they did against Liverpool when you actually kind of think about it. So any sort of point, and even 3 points, or even just a better display, against Liverpool, I think would say a lot about us in comparison to how they performed against Liverpool. So, Dave, I think, this is just kind of could be a bit of a giant killing. This could be kind of nothing to lose kind of scenario. If we get that point, David, that'd already be, more points than, Arsenal, of course, got against them, Dave. So I'd be over the moon even with that. It'd already be Antonio Conte pizza night for me if we even just got a point. And then as well, Dave, I mean, the Hammers were not looking hot. They were not looking good as well, in that most recent fixture as well. They really, really do rely on kind of that kind of counter-attacking, kind of boring sort of style and whatnot. And maybe they're starting to get a bit found out. And also David Moyes, the other day had a bit of a weird kind of press conference as well. Things are just going a bit weird for the Hammers. And we all knew it was going to happen, Dave. Kind of the rug was going to be pulled out from under them and they were going to get a bit of a reality check. So like you said, Dark Sun G, I'm looking for that sort of fixture. I'm looking for a top 4 and I'm looking for that trophy. And, part of that trophy is going to be coming from smacking them Hammers in the Carabao. Big up, Dark Sun G.
Big up, Dark Sun G, my man. Absolutely love it. Gaguma's in the building as well. It's good to see you in, Gaguma. I hope you're keeping well.
Legend.
Omari Sobers, Tottenham. Let's beat effing Liverpool. Exactly, my man. You tell him. Big yourself up. Philip Brady's in the house. The Don to go. Big up, Philip. I hope you're keeping well. Harry to start scoring again tomorrow. I hope so.
Big up,
I
Philip.
really do hope so. I imagine, Philip, can you imagine if he bangs in the winner? Oh, my God. I'm going to be unbearable. For about 3 weeks solid, I will be unbearable. I'm just telling people in advance now. And then Dark Song G21 says 2 top 4 clubs are in danger in Man U and Chelsea. Look, I'll be honest with you. Man U, major, major trouble there. Ragnick might not even last a year, to be honest with you. Might not even last to the end of the season. With Chelsea, I just think they have a strong enough squad to finish it, to turn it around. And I do believe they'll be inside the top 3 comfortably enough, to be honest with you, Dark Song G.
But Leicester not doing too hot. Dark Sun G, Leicester not doing too hot. Of course, they finished close and probably should have finished in the top 4 if it wasn't for, a bit of kind of Tottenham justice down at the end of the season last season as well. Kind of West Ham are now starting to follow a little bit. They didn't play so well recently. Man United, still to this day, Dave, they're still kind of, making excuses for Ralph, making excuses for the players that clearly, aren't good enough for Man United. I would say Dark Sun G, top 4 is ours. We might as well just take it from them.
That's what I'm talking about, Dark Sun G. Big yourself up, my man. And welcome in D-Trex Kane as well. Big up D-Trex. And Truth Century Free says, our team is boring. Can't wait to get new players. Truth Century Free, New Year is just around the corner, my man. Just hold in there. Just hold in there. But everybody, we're going to get into it now. If you like a bet in the bookies or on your mobile phone and you like to have a bet on the game, this is your show. All the stats you possibly could need to try and make your mind up what way you're going to put a bet on tomorrow. Everybody, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. And look, like Dark Sun G already generously has, feel free to get your super chats in, guys. It is a great way to help support myself and Jack on our journey. Don't get me wrong. Look, I know it's a busy time of the year, so do not worry. At least get your comments in the chat and we will bring them up on screen. But look, a super chat always helps. But look, Jacko, let's get into it, my man. And big up Spursy and David as well, and Yasser and Shakur late into the building. Big yourselves up.
Like I always say, though, Dave, there's really no more better informed preview. As much as maybe certain previews, they have kind of the panel discussions and whatnot. Sometimes you kind of need a bit. Sometimes people are like, I need a bit more facts, though. I need a bit more stats. I need to see a bit more tactics, and you basically get that all here when it comes to Stats with Jack. It's basically more of, I would say, kind of the classroom kind of preview, Dave. The one where you kind of sit down, university lecture, almost kind of preview when it comes to any of the fixtures having to do with Spurs. But everybody, let's break down this upcoming fixture. We always start off with the cold hard facts. Tottenham have won one of their last 17 matches against Liverpool. This is why I've said, everybody, it's a bit of a free hit. We kind of have nothing to lose. We still have plenty of matches, in hand against, the scum, and whatnot. And if we were to grab any sort of point in this one, I would be absolutely delighted. Liverpool have won their last 3 away league matches versus Tottenham since a 4-1 loss in Wembley in 2017. So you can tell the last few years it hasn't been too great for us. Liverpool haven't lost consecutive matches against a London club since 2015, showing definitely the Jurgen Klopp sort of regime and era. Liverpool have scored in each of their last 26 away games in all competitions, their best run in the club's history. Must say, though, Dave, we've had a few clean sheets under Antonio Conte. Harris Army, we've had a few clean sheets under Antonio Conte. What if we were to, stop that record for them? What if we were just going to, leave them kind of kind of ductless, leave them, with nothing to have after a match, over at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Dave? I think that would be absolutely glorious. Even if it were in 0-0, I mean, that would just be glorious for me as well. I mean, to be honest. So seriously, getting maybe a clean sheet would be a victory in itself. Against the Scousers. But Liverpool have the most goals in the Premier League, everybody, this season. So we must say, this will be a tough game to play against, especially considering their attack. But the head-to-head record, everybody, Spurs' all-time record versus Liverpool are 48-1, 42 drawn, and 87 lost. So I will say we just need to turn that around. But this is definitely an opportunity to do so. Last 5 Premier League fixtures, we have lost all 5 of them. This is why I've said, everybody, this is going to be a tough one, but it could be a bit of a giant killing. We could maybe, make some, Scousers, have to take, the train all the way back up north home, Dave, in the cold, coming with no goals and nothing. And it's also Antonio Conte time, like maybe said before, and Conte, we believe. Antonio Conte's record versus Jurgen Klopp is 1 win, 2 draws, and 1 loss, which I actually think is quite impressive, actually, when you think about it, because he knows not a lot of people can really boast a good record against Jurgen Klopp. Not many. And this guy, he does have a decent one. It's also, that's his, all the fixtures that Antonio Conte is in his managerial career have all come against, when it comes to Liverpool, have all come against Jurgen Klopp. So it's the same record as mentioned before. Klopp's all-time record versus Spurs are 9 wins, 4 draws, and 1 loss. So everybody, there it is. This is time for Antonio Conte to turn it around, maybe make a Jurgen Klopp, have to cry out the contacts in his, eyes, maybe have to put on the sunglasses instead for this fixture. But Wayne Bonner in here. Good to see you, Wayne, as well. It's really good to see you. He says, good evening, David and Jack. How the devil are you both? 2-0 Spurs tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Tottenham till I die as well. Big up, Wayne Bonner. Actually, legend to see you in this one. Really good to see you in this one. I've always enjoyed having you for Stats with Jack. I think he enjoyed me for, one a little bit while back, Wayne was, and he and I were just absolutely vibing out with the stats. So we were, Dave. But Wayne, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for the support, my man. And hopefully, we can grab maybe at least a point, if not all 3 points, and leave a bit of the Scousers a bit unhappy tomorrow. But big yourself up, Wayne. It's good to have you, my man.
Yeah, no, big up, Wayne. Look, I'm absolutely flying, man, buzzing. This is like Christmas Eve. Liverpool around the corner tomorrow. I just have a sneaky suspicion we can upset them and upset their Christmas, my man. Look, all the odds are against us. And look, if I was a better man tomorrow, I'd be backing the underdog. What have you got to lose? I mean, we have no game in 2 weeks. So, I mean, it's stacked against us. And, Wayne, you're definitely Tottenham till I die. And hopefully you're off this Christmas and you get to enjoy yourself, Wayne. Beat yourself up, my man. And I hope you are keeping well. And Dark Zone G says, Liverpool was lucky to beat Wolves. We should try to play like Wolves did. If we can play like Wolves, we can hold a 0-0 or score goals because Spurs are better than Wolves. What would you say to that, Jack?
I think they were actually quite lucky to get, the win against Wolves, because especially, I mean, that Salah penalty was just ridiculous. And then on top of that, as well, it just Wolves have actually done quite well at kind of defending, against maybe bigger sides. They also line up in a similar formation to what we do, Dave. They even play with actually less robust sort of midfielders like we have at our disposal. Their wingbacks, I would probably argue, aren't as great as ours. So, if they're able to do it, Dave, I mean, why aren't we able to do it? So, and I would say Antonio Conte, of course, knows how to be able to defend quite well in that sort of 5-2-3 sort of shape that we're in. I think this could be a good opportunity maybe to get maybe somewhat of a I don't know, Dave, to be the team that gets a clean sheet against Liverpool, I feel like would be, a win in itself. That would be a win in itself. And that's what I'm looking for, is maybe not to concede too many and maybe hopefully go for a bit of a snatch and grab, because that's what you kind of have to do against Liverpool. They are, a team that's red hot right now. A snatch and grab would do us quite well. But really big yourself up, Dark Sun G. I could not agree more. I feel like we could definitely take a page out of Wolves' book and how maybe they tried to stifle that Liverpool attack. So really good analysis there, my man.
No, big up. Let's welcome in Blade as well. Daniel Field and Isan Khan all in the building.
Big up, Isan.
Lightwork says, we belong in the Champions League top 4 this season. Could not agree more with you, my man. It kills me not being in it, and we belong in it, like you said. Look, top 4 is on. Let's go and do it this season. No more talking in the press. Let's get the actions on the field. Let's get the results we're supposed to get, and let's get to top 4 this time round. We have a better squad than what we did last year, in my opinion, so let's go and do it, Lightwork. Big yourself up, my man. I really appreciate the support. And William Kelly, the early riser. Big up, William. I hope you're keeping well. I like that song, G. 2 early risers. Wayne Bonner, he's another early riser too, to be fair. But William Kelly says, sorry to burst the bubble. I think we will get turned 3-1. Unfortunately, them and Man City are on fire and not the best to be facing at the moment.
That's what we've been saying, William Kelly. I mean, you're not bursting any bubbles, unfortunately, this time, man. Maybe next time around you maybe burst a bubble of ours. But I would say this one, David and I are kind of going into it a bit more realistic than maybe normal. We do, understand that this is kind of a game where, there's really nothing to lose. That's what I've kind of said multiple times here, William Kelly. It's kind of nothing to lose with this match, because everybody knows that it is going to be somewhat of a kind of a 2-horse race, probably between the likes of Liverpool and Man City. So, what we're really going for here is to basically just get a better result than the other scum across the road got, against them. That's what I'm going for, really, William Kelly. If we can play any better than maybe the red scum across the road did, then I would be pretty happy with ourselves, and so hopefully we could just put up a better fight. Also, if we were to concede fewer goals and not look as ridiculous, like maybe Arsenal did against them, I would be quite happy, actually, William Kelly. So this time I will say, you're not bursting the bubble, my man, unfortunately.
What I will say is go and listen to Sonny's words there that were put out today. He's ready. He's come out with the fighting talk. He's dying for today's game. If we have his mentality going out tomorrow, honestly, I just, with that and the 2 weeks off with the man we have in charge, I do believe he's shrewd enough to put a plan in place. Look, I know the odds are stacked against us with the likes of Dyer, Davies and Sanchez at the back. But look, they've already surprised us this season with some of the clean sheets against worse opposition. I know. But look, let's see what we can do, William. William, come on, man. Don't be sucking the optimism out of me, my guy. Come on. Look, tune in now and tune in for the pre-match build-up tomorrow at 12:30. You will be absolutely pumped up, and you'll believe we can win 10-0 going in there, my man. Big yourself up. Let's welcome in the hot spur as well.
Big up.
Lads and ladies, big yourself up. James Hunter's in the house as well.
Big
yeah,
up.
No, exactly. I get what you're saying, Jamesy boy. Wayne Bonner, Jackie says, we'll beat Liverpool so bad tomorrow, they'll press charges.
They'll have to. No, they'll have to. I think this is the thing, Wayne Bonner, especially Jurgen Klopp, will probably be beating them so bad when, Jurgen Klopp will probably be thinking, he's going to have to put on the glasses, maybe take out the contacts because he can't see what's happening in front of him because we'll be beating his team so bad as well, though. I think Liverpool, Wayne, they kind of deserve a bit of a beating. They get so full of themselves, they get, it's like David, they're constantly breathing hot air. They're constantly breathing, kind of their own air with each other. It's kind of like a popcorn bag with them, where it's just like, you just can't really, you just can't, breathe any sort of realism, like William Kelly has. That's just realism for them. It's just not a thing. And so Wayne Bonner, if we're able to give them that beating tomorrow that they so rightfully deserve, I think they definitely will press charges. But the problem is that Antonio Conte, not only is he the Don, not only is he the second coming of Christ, but he's also the judge as well. So he'll give us a fair trial.
Oh, Wayne, and what I will say to you is I absolutely love that. I'm still cracking up, my man. But Conte said we're ready as well. He said it in his press conference. And Wayne, I don't know if you know the meme I'm on about. Did you ever see the meme of the Liverpool fan crying on his phone? You know, and then it says, "Mummy, it's happened again." Hopefully we can get that circulating tomorrow. I know I'll have it and be sending it to all my friends, my man. But big up, Wayne. Oh, what a legend. Let's welcome in the Tottenham teacher as well. Daniel Field and Mayhem Skip. Big yourselves up.
Big up Mario, though, the Tottenham teacher. Absolute legend. He is. Absolute legend. He tunes in when he can, Dave. He's a busy guy.
Educating in the future. That's what he's up to. Big up, my man. Dark Sun G21 says they only beat Wolves when Arthur Nori went off injured with 1 minute left on extra time and an Origi winner.
That's
I just hope we don't get scored against him, Minamino.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, Minamino, it's, seriously, it sounds like the name of a fish. I hate to say it. It sounds like, something that you'd see in kind of like Animal Planet or something, Dave. But, to be honest, I eat Nuri. This is kind of what I was making that point, Dark Sunji. I feel like our fullbacks are actually better than Wolves' and I actually really rate Ait Nuri. I actually think he's actually quite a skilled player. He's actually very, very good on the ball, so he is. And so hopefully, we just have to have a bit of a solid defensive performance. This, game, it's not really as much about taking it to the other team because Liverpool, they take it to any team they play against. They try to choke you. They try to dominate you with their sort of press and their kind of high, octane sort of, style of play. But if we kind of keep our composure, we keep our wits about us, Dark Sun G, and then we keep strong defensively, and then we break them and punch them in the mouth when we give those opportunities, I feel like we certainly can get something out of this. And I think we have a better defense, to a degree, at least from the fullback perspective than Wolves do. Our center backs, certainly could get a bit of an improvement. It'd be nice to have Romero for this one. But again, Dark Sun G, if we're able to get any sort of result without, the God Romero, and as well, it's just, I don't know, it'd be ecstatic. I just know that top four would be on if we get any sort of result out of this, Dark Sun G. So I'm holding hope.
Yeah, I always hold hope. Always hope. My man, Sam Lee is in the building. Simon Stevens is in the building as well. Big yourselves up. But big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate the support, brother. Gaguma says 3 points. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, Gaguma. That is what I'm talking about. Look, hopefully, there'll be 3 points in my Christmas stocking this Christmas. That's what I want. I just want a victory for Tottenham before Christmas comes around and I can sit there and get fat with the turkey and ham. That's what I want, Gaguma. But big yourself up. Let me know what time it is where you're tuning in from, Gaguma. You're always in here. You must never sleep, so you mustn't. But big up, Gaguma.
Legend. Absolute legend.
Alexander Hilton's in the building as well. Big up Alexander Hilton. Truth Sets You Free says there isn't a dirty red in the chat, is there? John Henry, is that you? I thought Americans ruin clubs, not build champions. Oh, yeah, no, there is. What's his name? John Smith. Yeah, probably is John Henry. Truth Sets You Free. You're calling him out now, lad. Yeah, John Smith. He's a Liverpool fan, but you know what? He's a mild Liverpool fan. Honestly, earlier on, I tweeted out my Mo Salah song, and I was just waiting there for Liverpool fans to bite like I knew they would. And then underneath them, all I've done is just put a fishing emoji. It was absolutely brilliant. I'm trolling them already. It's top class. I'm having a ball of a day. It's brilliant. I love doing it to them. But big up, Truth Sets You Free, my man. Big yourself up, Jack Henson. You want to say Truth Sets You Free?
No, I mean, it's to be honest, I feel like, Americans, they do find a good way to mess things up. And so hopefully maybe John Henry will do so over there, Truth. But as well, there probably are, a few, kind of dirty scousers in this one, but there are also probably a good few ones. I'm surprised Ronan O'Donnell's not in this one. He's an absolute class man himself. Maybe hopefully he joins us, so at the end of the day, don't write them all off. Truth, but certainly, keep it civil in there. Don't let the scousers, kind of, crash our parade for this one.
Big old Truth Sets You Free legend. I hope you keep him well, man. We have William Kelly in the building. He says, all right, I'll start dreaming 1-0 win. How about that, please? That's what I'm talking about, William. But being optimistic instead of pessimistic. That's what I'm talking about.
1-0.
Glass half full kind of guy, not a glass half empty kind of guy. That's more like it, my man. I'd take a 1-0 all day. Look, you could put in 0 on. I would have been happy with that, William. I would have been happy with that. But I hope you're keeping well. And look, if tell Luke from the Irish Hotspur, your son, tell him happy Christmas, my man. But big up William Kelly. And look, make sure you I know you're a hard working man, but William, take the Christmas off. Sit back and enjoy it, my man. Really do sit back and enjoy it. You deserve it, brother. Big up, William. But Jack, is William now optimistic enough for us?
No, I mean, David, he eventually we get him to sip the Kool-Aid. Eventually we get him to do it. He's always, turning his head away, Dave. He's, saying, don't, no, don't convince me, guys. Eventually we would break through to him. We always break through to William Kelly. So William Kelly, who doesn't love a 1-0? It's the best sort of win you can get. It's honestly, it's actually my favorite kind of victory, Dave. Sometimes I like a 1-0 more than I even like a 3-0 because, it just makes it a bit more exciting. It's kind of a bit of a rush, get a bit more adrenaline from it. And as well as there's just no better way to rub a 1-0 in someone's face than even a 3-0. So Wayne, that's what we're going for. And as William Kelly, that's what we're going for tomorrow. That 1-0, just snatch and grab. Nothing more beautiful.
No, big up Wayne Bonner. I hope you're keeping or William Kelly. Big up William Kelly. Wayne Bonner, big yourself up, Wayne. He says, we'll beat Liverpool so badly tomorrow their fans will start supporting everything. Yeah, hopefully, another tin pot club made it tough for you, my man. Honestly, stay at the clubs up that way. I can't wait to spank them and send them back. Honestly, it's like you bring them up for a day out in the city, you treat them, and then you just send them back to the shithole they come from, Wayne Bonner. But beat yourself up, my man. And look, we're going to beat them so bad, my man. I cannot wait. I really cannot wait. Beat the absolute living breaks off them. Or actually, hopefully we put the handbrake on them, to be honest with you, Wayne. Hopefully we put the handbrake on them and never unleash it again. That's what I'm talking about, Wayne. Beat yourself up, my man. Beat yourself up. Going to beat them so hard how much I beat them eggs when I'm making a nice big cake, Wayne. That's what I'm talking about, lad. And then we have Dark Sun G. He says our ultimate banter would be if Stevie scores tomorrow. Oh, lad. If he gets the winner, honestly, fans will go mad. Spurs fans are going to meltdown, so they will. Especially after the miss last season. The crucial. Honestly. And there'd be no better way to announce yourself back at Tottenham.
What goes, after a year, maybe he learns his lesson after a year, maybe Stevie B does, but that would actually be glorious if he really did Dark Sun G, especially if it were a similar chance as well. And he just buried it this time around. That would just be glorious. Seriously, Dark Sun G, that is the best kind of banter. Honestly, probably one of the super chats of the night with that one, actually. Big yourself up, Dark Sun G. I love it. That is the best kind of banter. Stevie B hitting the back of the net is banter in itself.
Big up. Elias is in the house. Big yourself up, my man. Hotspur. The hottest Spur says, beat him like we beat City at the start of the season. That's what I'm talking about. Hugh, just keep the fingers crossed. We could wake up tomorrow and the dreams could be dashed, my man. Just keep the fingers crossed that the game goes ahead. Big yourself up. And then we also, Kaguma, she says, it's 6:30 a.m. in Seoul, my friend. My morning is starting off right with David and Jack. Spurs, happy vibes. That's what I'm talking about, Kaguma.
Big up, Kaguma.
Early riser like Dark Sun G, big yourself up. And then Truth Sets You Free says, who smells an AM game cancellation? Not me, my man. I got to have the faith that's going to happen. Look, I spoke to God last night. I said, look, just let this one game go ahead. Let us beat them. And then you can put whatever you want into lockdown after that. Just give me the pleasure of bantering them all through the lockdown. That'll be absolutely brilliant. So, look, the first part is in plan. Now, let's hopefully the second part comes into play. The Truth Sets You Free. But no, what I do smell is 3 points, my man. That's what I smell. Big up, Truth Sets You Free. But look, Jacko, we'll keep plowing on, my man.
We'll keep moving on, but big yourself up, Truth. We're going to go on to the Liverpool predicted lineup here. Of course, they're going to line that sort of 4-3-3 shape. For this one, it's going to be Alisson in goal, Trent outright, Konate instead of the former RB Leipzig man, instead of Virgil van Dijk, who has come down with COVID suspectedly. Joel Matip, who normally plays as a right center back, I think will probably be moved to that left side center back position because he's not half bad on the ball. Robertson, of course, out wide. Thiago, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Henderson. I will say, Dave, the one thing I also don't like Liverpool is there are just so many hyphenated names in this team that, you can't even fit it, in some of these, player name bars, which just was also frustration as well. But Henderson, maybe doing a holding midfield position instead of kind of playing where maybe Oxlade-Chamberlain would be. And then Thiago, who's actually been, kind of coming into his own for them. Hopefully we can maybe marshal him. Mane, Jota, and Salah up top. Certainly a very deadly strike force, everybody. But that is the predicted lineup that we are going with for Liverpool for this one. The unsung hero, which is probably a bit of surprise, I must say, actually. It is going to be actually Trent Alexander-Arnold. And I know that kind of sounds ridiculous. Like, how on earth could he be an unsung hero? I think the reason he's going to be an unsung hero for this one, everybody, is simply because we all know the season that Salah is having. But you kind of have to look at some of these stats that Trent is actually having so far this season. And that is probably what makes him a bit of an unsung hero. The most key passes in the entire Liverpool squad, which is not an easy team to have the most key passes in, with 46. the most passes into the final third with 98. And that's also quite impressive because normally that would be a stat for a midfielder. The most passes into the penalty area with 44. That's not much of a surprise, but that is actually a ridiculous number as well. The most progressive passes, which again would be kind of a stat, more, maybe dominated by kind of midfielders and aside, with 137 so far, which is just ridiculous. And the second most assists in the entire Liverpool squad with 7. But also, David, interestingly, I would say, though, Trent can still be easily exposed defensively. We saw what Vinicius Jr. did to him, in the Champions League last season, just absolutely tore him right. He's still looking for Vinicius out there. Jurgen Klopp, again, is still looking for his contacts for that game as well, against Real Madrid. But Dave, I mean, it is quite surprising to see that he did actually have the most tackles and interceptions combined on the entire Liverpool squad with 59. That probably has to speak to maybe, their very, very high pressing sort of style. The most shot creating actions, though, as well, which is, again, not an easy team to have the most shot creating actions for, with 77. So those are really the reasons why he's the unsung hero, everybody. I know he's a huge kind of hallmark sort of player for the Scousers, but Dave, I mean, at the end of the day, like, these stats really do show that this guy is actually, unfortunately, very much unfortunately, having quite a spectacular season, at least statistically so far this season.
No, look, very, very good player, Jack. What more can you say about him? I mean, he can put a cross in from absolutely anywhere. Not only that, he knows how to play a pass. He can switch play as well. Very, very dangerous, Jack. But if we can get the ball off them when they're advancing, and then get Reguilon or whoever it is out on that side,
one-on-one with him,
straight in behind him. Not even, because he'd be caught out up the field, Jack.
You're right.
Look, Sky match, the pundits on Match of the Day and stuff like that. As good as this guy is, they always talk about how he is exposed defensively, how easy it is to get at them in behind there. But then as well, you've no Virgil van Dijk to cover for him tomorrow. So if we can get in behind him with that space that he leaves, and get at them, let's do it. Keep Kane, keep Son up top, keep Lucas a bit tight with them, and let's get at them. There's going to be plenty of space. Robertson over the other side, he'll be bombing forward. But this guy here, great going forward, but can't be caught defensively. So let's go and do the job. But I think we have to get out and close him down quickly. I really do think we have to. We have to stop putting them balls into the box. He has that unique ability just to drop it right in over the defender's head onto the Russian player. So we have to close him down quickly.
No, you're absolutely right, Dave. And, all we have to do is just basically bypass him. Don't let him track back, and maybe just, get him caught in behind, because he ventures way too far forward and they're willing to take that risk. But hopefully we can expose it, because at the end of the day, everybody, our left-hand side with Sonny and Reguilon has been our most fruitful side, this season, has been our best creatively this season. So, while he may be able to hurt us on our left-hand side, we can hurt him on our left-hand side. It kind of goes both ways. So hopefully it will be that way tomorrow. Wayne Bonner, though, in here with a super chat saying 3 points for Spurs tomorrow. If you smell what the Conte is cooking, we'll beat them so bad they'll be known as Omelet FC. No, I mean, to be honest, I don't even think, there's probably no manager, I would actually say, in the Premier League, Wayne Bonner, that could cook a better omelet than probably Antonio Conte. He probably knows how to put the right sort of, veggies fixings in there, uses a bit of that Italian sausage maybe as well, maybe just a bit of kind of a, beautiful cheese on top of it. That's also maybe fresh mozzarella. I would say probably Jurgen Klopp is probably the last person in the league that you'd want making an omelet. I mean, I will say the Germans are not known for their cooking. And then, when it comes to Antonio Conte, I mean, there's no better cook in the Premier League. So he'll be making, an absolute omelet out of those Scousers tomorrow. Big up, Wayne. Seriously, probably one of the most delicious omelets you could make out of any manager would be what Antonio Conte could make.
Bueno, he's so funny, this guy. He cracks jokes for a living. I absolutely love him. He does crack me up. Omelette FC. Honestly, I can't wait to say that one to my mates later. Wayne, if you've any more, do let me know. Please do let me know. Honestly, they're absolutely brilliant. And if anyone has any nicknames for them as well, put them in the chat. I love a good giggle. I love a good laugh. But big up, Wayne.
Big up, Wayne.
Definitely be known as Omelette FC. Look, I'm a scrambled egg man myself, so hopefully we'll be making scrambled eggs. We'll be eating them that bad, my man. But big up, Wayne.
Big up, Wayne. Absolute legend. The next, which is obviously the key player for Liverpool this season is going to be Mo Salah with the most goals in the entire squad. And this is just the Premier League alone, but the most goals with 15, the most assists with 9, the most goal creating actions per 90 with 1.13. He creates over a goal a game. The most pressures in the attacking third, which is also quite impressive. So he is actually one of the hardest working players in the front three as well, off the ball with 138 pressures in the attacking third. The most successful pressures in the entire squad as well. This is what David was alluding to, where actually some of the hardest, defensive numbers, some of the biggest defensive numbers do in fact come from their kind of front three, do in fact come from, their attack. And so Mo Salah with the most successful pressures, that is when pressuring the ball, you actually come out with the ball or, something happens where you do win possession from making a pressure. And so he actually has the most, which again would be a stat mostly dominated by midfielders. He also has the most players dribble pass, which isn't a big surprise with 38, the most targeted player in the entire squad, which also isn't much of a surprise with over 1,000 targets so far this season. And he has the most carries into the penalty area, which isn't much of a surprise either with 42. Definitely huge numbers for Mo Salah this season. But I would say the most interesting ones are the fact that he is actually the hardest working player, you might argue, probably next to Mane as well, in terms of, that front three. But it is just quite impressive. Also, the defensive numbers that he's had this season. But I don't think we need to dwell over it, very much. I mean, Liverpool fans, David, they already, kind of to a degree, kind of suck themselves over, Mo Salah every day. So, I mean, we don't need to break it too much down. But I think what you could take away from this, everybody, is while he may be great, kind of, producing the goals and the assists, he's also been quite decent this season in terms of kind of defensive numbers as well. But we are going to move on, everybody, into maybe how do Liverpool in fact attack us, and maybe what are the maybe three sort of threats that we might expect. I think one of them, which is a very obvious one, could easily be, everybody, just Salah and the one-on-one moments, because he is an extremely dangerous player to come up against in these one-on-one sort of moments. So this is going to be one. For this one, everybody, for all of these animations, by the way, I did kind of go with the most conservative sort of lineup because I still don't really know what maybe our defense might look like, because a lot of players did return to training. Are they really fit enough to be playing against Liverpool? Do they have, even the lung capacity to do it? Because we all know sometimes what COVID can do to you. So I did actually have Tanganga when I made these animations yesterday. I did have Tanganga instead of Ben Davies. Maybe let me know in the comments, who would you probably rather have in these one-on-one situations between coming up against Salah? Would you rather have Tanganga? Would you rather have Ben Davies? But the point really being here is that when they do give it to Salah, I think what makes Salah so especially dangerous is that compared to someone like a Riyad Mahrez, he doesn't just cut inside on his left every time. He actually will, as the animation shows, he'll almost fake to look like he's cutting inside on his left, and then will actually pull it towards his right. And it actually finds ways to finish it with his right as well, which I think makes him actually an especially, world-class player, because compared to, like I said, someone like a Riyad Mahrez, or maybe way back to like an Arjen Robben or something like that, he actually can finish it with his right foot. And we obviously saw that spectacular goal that he scored against Man City. And this is kind of what I am trying to recreate here, with him kind of cutting inside on his left, then cutting it back inside to his right, and then taking it down there past his defender and just finishing it there. David, I can't really watch this goal too many times, also for me and Kuva's sake, because we don't like to see the Scousers score too much against us. But that is, I think, David, a very realistic, unfortunate way that maybe they can hurt us.
Seen it time and time again, Jack. Every time I watch the guy score a goal, he does it time and time again. So we have to watch for that. Hopefully Ben Davies, can have the game of his life, because we have to remember last time Jose played against Liverpool, he had the game of his life, to be fair to him. You know what I mean? So
what would you rather have, Dave? I mean, because, like I said, I did these animations a bit ahead of time. It's been really hard to get to know who's available, who's fit for this sort of match and whatnot. We are in a bit of a crisis when it comes to, everybody's recovering from COVID right now, which is great news for these players. But to know which ones are actually available, which ones are really up for this match is kind of, it's really only, not really available to us at this moment in time. But David, we know Ben Davies. We highlighted it in probably one of the best tactical breakdowns you could find, across the whole season, where we kind of explained, where Ben Davies, why he gets forward, what makes him so special about carrying the ball forward and making those inverted underlaps. I mean, I know that's been a great asset to us this season, but coming up against maybe Mo Salah, would you rather have Ben Davies or Tanganga? It's on the left-hand side, though,
You
you
know
must
what?
say as well. So
I
maybe
would,
Ben Davies might,
I would
who knows?
I'd stick with Ben Davies, Jack. I'd stick
Yeah.
with him. Look, the guy's been on form, so you stick with what you know, to be honest with you. Yeah, Tanganga came in. He had that man the match performance last time he played against Liverpool, but it's been a once-off. You have to stick with Ben Davies, in my opinion. I never thought I'd be saying this, but look, last time it was Ben Davies that they had down that side. Now it's Ben Davies and Reguilon. Let's see what we can do. Benedict Hampetis says, today is to do, lads. Much love. Come on, you Spurs.
Big up, Benedict.
Big up, Benedict. I hope you're keeping well, my man. And today is definitely to do, my man. Definitely. Let's go and get them tomorrow. Let's go and get them. Look, hopefully they're a bit leggy, and let's get at them. That's what I say. Benedict Hampus, big yourself up. John Stokes says Salad will be making shawarma of Davies. I love it. William McKenzie says, Merry Christmas, people. Hopefully we get good results to really pull us through. Pray for Bob Spur as well. 100%, my man, 100%. And Kuva99 says, all joking aside, if they count their chickens and whisk their players in this match, Pool will crack and have to shell out for new ones.
They'll need a whole new rack of eggs, they'll need a whole new rack of eggs, Kuva, and I would say, Conte, he doesn't count his chickens because he knows how many, chickens it takes to make a Liverpool omelet, Kuva. He knows how many chickens it takes. So, you don't need to tell Conte twice, to make a Liverpool omelet. He knows how to do it. All he needs is just a little bit of that Conte sausage, to go along with it. Kuva99, but big yourself up, my man. Absolute legend.
No, big up Kuva. And just for everybody to know, with the COVID situation at Tottenham right now, it is supposedly just 2 players that have tested positive, just 2. So everyone else should be in contention, but the problem is we don't know what to. And as for Liverpool, apparently now, as we're speaking, I think there's a small bit of an outbreak. Not 100% sure. The reports do say Origi, but as far as I was aware, Origi was actually out with an injury anyway. So I'm not sure how true they are. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll wait and see. But big up, Kuva. Really appreciate the support. Everybody else, Wayne Bonner, Dark Sun G, everyone else, Gaguma, feel free, everybody, to get your super chats in and keep help supporting the channel. But look, Jacko, we'll keep moving, my man. We don't want to keep everybody here until midnight tonight. We want to get a nice early rest for that game tomorrow.
No, certainly, Dave. And the next one, of course, and you kind of had to do it. It's another kind of obvious one, Dave, because, some of the Liverpool's threats are just that potent and they're that obvious, at the end of the day. It is, that Trent, kind of cross, it sometimes comes from the byline. It sometimes comes from very deep positions as well. He's probably one of those kind of crossers of the ball, maybe similar to kind of Joao Cancelo, where he doesn't take it down the byline every time to cross it. In fact, he'll cross it from very deep positions, sometimes even middle, the park kind of positions as well, to cross it into the box. And in this scenario, it's just, again, kind of them working it down the wing here, giving it to Salah. Salah then feeds Trent, and then Trent feeds, Jota at the back post. But I must say, actually, everybody, and this is probably plenty of people might know this, but maybe it just needs to be stressed. I would say, though, Diogo Jota this season and maybe before has proven that he's a lot better in the air than maybe he's given credit for, as well as for Mane. Mane is also very good in the air. And, that's kind of the reason why they even put balls into the box, where I would say, a team like Man City, they sometimes just spray balls into the box just in case a team makes a mistake, and then they kind of come up for kind of a loose ball kind of rebound. Whereas I would say in Liverpool's case, it's a bit different, where actually Diogo Jota finds great positions and doesn't have a bad, aerial ability to try to win the header, and is good actually finishing with kind of his noggin as well. And then when it comes to Mane, we do know that Mane is a very athletic player and can also, kind of rise above his defender and also finish a header. So that is probably part of the reasons why, Trent has had such success, crossing from such deep positions, but also as well, the flight of the ball that he puts on it, kind of the dip that he puts on it for some of these crosses. If you make the right sort of movement, if you kind of put yourself in between 2 defenders, he will find you. And so everybody, I would say, a very, very realistic way that we could technically concede tomorrow could be, just Trent Alexander-Arnold, either crossing it from a deep position or crossing it from the byline to maybe the back post, to where maybe Diogo Jota or Sadio Mane might be there to finish it away.
No, 100%. It's definitely realistic, and we have to watch out for that. Look, but when them balls do come into the box, it's not only like, if you don't want to press them and you're going to let them put balls in the box, make sure you keep an eye on Jota and Mane, always sneaking in there. We
Yeah,
have
they
to
do a
keep an
bit
eye
of
on
a
those.
decoy run between themselves here, Dave. That's
Yeah,
what I tried to show here is, in fact, Mane shows to the near post, whereas Diego Jota, in fact, actually then kind of loses his marker and goes towards the back post. You see Jota actually here at the near post right now, but he instead switches with, Mane in this scenario, which I think is very realistic. Again, that's kind of how they make their movement is to kind of, get their defenders kind of tangled up, you might
yeah,
say, Dave. And then what happens is that he's all alone at the back post and is able to easily just tap it home either with his foot or probably with his noggin to be a bit more realistic. But that there it is, everybody. Again, two players that make very intelligent movement in the box and also are fully capable of putting it away actually with
yeah,
a bit of aerial ability as well. Like David said too, they make great movement off of each other, to lose their marker.
yeah. No, 100% spot on. Tottenham Tantrum Gold, aka Dermot. He says, Dave and Jack, woohoo, woohoo, joke from Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, no. I tuned in last night, yesterday evening. I was in the middle of making dinner, so I put it on in the background. I was just home, and they were making these owl jokes. So it was funny. It was funny. But big up, Dermot. I hope you're keeping well, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Everybody do get over and check out Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Absolute brilliant channel. Dermot, Kuva, and Phil Latis, three boys together, and they do all the older games. So big yourselves up. Big up, Dermot. Really appreciate the support. The vibe is in the house. Boston Chris is in the house. And Mr. K is also in the house joining us as well. Big yourselves up, everyone.
Big up, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Stats with Jack. Like I said, as much as other previews, they bring you that kind of discussion. They kind of bring you that kind of
That's tomorrow.
that panel. We also provide that, but then we also provide not only with that, which is probably one of the most informed, kind of previews you can find. Then this is kind of the one where you kind of just sit back, pull out a, pen and paper, just sit down at the desk and, maybe get to, pull down a few facts, pull down a few stats, also look at a bit of the tactics as well, so that when you do walk into the pub tomorrow, when you walk into the living room, when you walk into the stadium, even tomorrow, you will be the most informed person in there, thanks to, the preview that David provides. And also thanks to Stats with Jack as well. Like I said, probably the most informed previews you can find in the business. But big up, everybody. Thank you very much for joining this one. But Goguma saying, don't let them run over us. Liverpool can come in waves. Seriously, I mean, there are moments where you kind of just, got to hold your breath. You got to hold your breath against them, Goguma, because they will win the ball back. They will kind of pressure you. They won't let you out of your own half at times. You sometimes, and we will go over this later when we get into our section, Goguma, but there will be moments when you can't even try to play through their press. You kind of have to go for a bit of a route one. You kind of have to go for maybe a ball over the top. You kind of have to find them in between the lines because they basically make it impossible for you at times to try to play through them, to try to break their press or, to kind of find a way to, beat their press by playing out on the floor. Sometimes you just kind of have to play a bit of a route one sort of style and just try to hurt them that way. And like you said, Goguma, I mean, they will try to, that's their play style, is to try to run all over people, to try to make it very impossible to play football against them. And so what you have to do is you have to counter it sometimes when you kind of have to make them honest. You got to make them have to worry about maybe that route one kind of approach. You don't want to let them think that you're not going to go for that sort of play style. I think that's what hurt Arsenal actually so much, is they kept trying to play through that press and they just kept getting embarrassed by trying to play through that press. I don't think we can make that same mistake. We need to do a bit of that, but we also need to go for a bit of the route one. I couldn't agree more, Goguma, but we just have to hold our breath at times.
Big up, Goguma. I really appreciate the support. And look, they do come in waves, but we just got to hold our own. At the end of the day, it's 11 men against 11 men. Anything can happen on the day, Goguma. Anything can happen.
Next one, the next threat, the third and last final threat for this one is going to be the front three, basically combining. I hate to say this, Dave, this is kind of a nice animation, kind of does suck, sometimes to have to make a nice animation, when it comes to the opposition here, but it is, a bit of kind of just the front three combining. And we've seen, this goal basically happen before again, like we saw with the Trent goal. We've seen that happen that we showed on the animation board. And then we also, the Salah goal we saw obviously against Man City and other sides. But this one, I will say, is kind of more has to do with kind of Thiago, someone who I would say has kind of taken time to kind of break into this Liverpool side, hasn't had a lot of great displays, but you kind of take yourself back to that Bayern team that won the Champions League. Thiago in that season, I believe, what was it, the 2019 season, if I'm not mistaken, he was practically one of the best midfielders in the world that season when it came to basically what he's doing right now. He can turn his man. He can turn his man inside out, especially if it's like a Tanguy, who I originally thought might be playing for this game alongside Winks, because that was the original prediction. If that's the case, tomorrow, then we can easily see someone like a Thiago kind of having a field day and basically being able to spray the balls in behind, and also, be able to turn his man with a bit of that hesitation that he always does, that I know David probably does to a few people on the Astro as well when picking up the ball. But he does that bit of that hesitation. He'll kind of mix you there. He'll play a, through ball in behind to someone like Mane. Mane there will then give it to Jota. Jota gives it back to Mane, who then, gives it to Salah, making that, darting run inside. It's a goal that we've seen before, probably by them. They do have pretty silky, link up play, pretty silky combinations between the three. And it's just something that we have to be aware of. And hopefully the back three, as well as the midfield, can, maybe protect each other in this sort of scenario, because it is a bit of a breakdown of defense in the midfield in this animation, as well as it's a bit of a breakdown of kind of defensive duties in the back three here. It's just, if we conceded a goal like this, I would actually be very frustrated because it is, a bit unfortunate. It was even unfortunate to create a goal like this, on the animation board, David. It's probably something I need a bit of therapy for sometimes when I make such a good animation when it comes to the other team, Dave. But that is, I'm not going to play it too many times just for Kuva's and I's sake. We don't like to see the Scouser score that much. But there it is, everybody. Again, the three different ways that we could have threats: Trent Alexander-Arnold crossing it from deep positions or the byline. The other one is Salah in the one-on-ones. When he is put up one-on-one against a defender, you kind of have to back his chances and maybe doing something dangerous. And the other one is just the front three, just combining with a bit of kind of silky kind of one-touch passing and whatnot via a through ball from someone like a Thiago.
Yeah, no, and do you know what? Interesting when it comes to Thiago, Jack, he's also their most booked player this season as well.
Yes.
So if we can get in and around him, and get him to take a card early, and then just constantly get in and around him, he will bite again. So
way ahead of me, Dave. I already have him as a player to target. Way ahead of me, Dave.
Yeah.
Way ahead of me. I like it. I like your thinking, Dave. I like the way you think about it.
Yeah, no, look, the first thing that shot to me, I mean, if we can get in and around him, get runners running off him, if we can have Skip Neuberg in there, I mean, he's in for a tough afternoon and he will bite. He is petulant, that guy. So, let's see if we can get at him as good as he is, or he can be. Look, for me, he's okay. I don't think he's world class like everyone is saying. I think he's ordinary, to be honest with you. But, I mean, look, let's get at him tomorrow. I want to eat him in my stew.
There we are. This one is going to be how did Liverpool defend? And this time, everybody, I'm kind of making it a bit of an animation, trying to basically show kind of what that gegenpress sort of looks like. And what makes it kind of especially unique is the fact that the front three, they put themselves in something what they call kind of diagonal kind of, pressing positions, where if you can tell, the front three, they make it so that a pass out wide to the wingbacks is very difficult, but also they pressure the ball at the same time. So it's not like, they just pressure the ball directly and then you kind of just pass around them. They kind of pressure you at a sort of diagonal sort of angle where that pass to the wingback is a lot scarier than maybe it looks, on paper. And then what happens there also as well is once the front three are kind of pressing in that sort of diagonal sort of shape, then the back, the two midfielders, not the holding midfielder like a Fabinho or a Henderson, will have more of a free roll and almost kind of form a bit of a back three kind of, situation. But the two midfielders, which will probably be Thiago and Oxlade-Chamberlain tomorrow, will then press, the outlet ball to maybe the midfielders, which probably in this case, again, I made these animations because they do take a while. I originally had it as Winks and Tanguy, but of course you saw our predicted lineup. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Skip and maybe Winks, or Skip and maybe Tanguy, potentially either or. And, what will happen is that when the wingbacks the wingers for Liverpool are pressing in that sort of diagonal shape, like I was saying, then Oxlade-Chamberlain and Thiago will make it very difficult for then two of our midfielders to even pick up the ball as well. And that can make, it very, very difficult to be able to play out the back, to be able to break the press. You need someone like a press breaker, which is why I will maybe say that if Skip is available, I would go for maybe a Tanguy especially because we are thinking that Højbjerg might not be available for this one. I would go for a Tanguy instead of a Harry Winks, because Harry Winks, at the end of the day, Dave, we know he can't break presses. We know he's not good on the ball. We know he's too scared, to, maybe take a man on. So I would actually say you might be better off taking a risk with someone like a Gio or maybe a Tanguy and Ndombele in that midfield, because they will have a better time maybe breaking that press. But there it is, everybody. It is a bit of a diagram of maybe what that sort of kind of gegenpress sort of looks like, what makes it so scary. You can see there are not a lot of passing options here. And then what happens then is that they win the ball high up the pitch, and then they have very good pace and very good kind of eager, almost hungry front three sort of players who then, pick the ball up in good positions and then just hurt you from there.
No, absolutely incredible animation. Incredible animation. This Jack is. It's look. The Liverpool's press is so it's a killer, Jack. It's a killer. But you know why it works effectively is because the midfield press up too.
Yeah.
It's all well and good sending your front three to press, but then if your midfield don't press the opposition, then it's just an easy ball into midfield and they're out. But here, what you can see is, Jack, they will probably end up pressing our fullbacks. Right, and like you're showing here, but that's where we're asking Kane, Son, Lucas, spread out, give that long ball into feet option.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Spread out, make it a nuisance for them, because Liverpool will want to press us. They're not going to change our game plan just specifically for us. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, the whole if they do press us and press the fullbacks like you're showing here, I'd just be getting Kane and Son and Lucas spread out and give yourselves an option. That's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, I would have, like you said, I would have one of them pick up a half space and then the other one making a run in behind, to have a bit of a route one sort of style. So then, whatever that fullback is, they'll have two choices. They either have someone in a one-on-one in a half space sort of position to pick up the ball and turn their man, or they have someone over the top if they just want to loof it up top, as well, Dave. So well said, my man.
It'd be very interesting to see what he does get Kane to do, where he gets Kane to kind of drop in and be the hold-up man with Son going in behind, or whether he gets Son and Lucas to drop into them half spaces and get Kane to run in behind. Because anyone that wants to know what we are talking about, if you go back and watch the tactics stream we done on Contest Tactics, it'll blow your mind the way he has Son and Lucas operating, and then sometimes switching with Kane operating to it and going in behind. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what way we get joy, if any, doing this tomorrow, Jacko.
No, correct, Dave. Absolutely correct. You are. And everybody, again, hopefully we have Lucas and Sonny for this one. I'm predicting that we might not. So we're going to have to maybe make a risk with somebody instead. But the most key part, especially against Liverpool, because they will press very high, but that does leave space then in behind. And that also leaves space in between that midfield and that back four. So then that means even larger half spaces, even bigger places where maybe someone could pick up the ball and turn. And if you have one-on-ones in those scenario, you're actually asking a lot of your defender. And I do mean the Liverpool defenders. You're asking a lot of them, because they will then have to win those one-on-one sort of battles. And if you have someone like a Sonny, you have someone like a Lucas, maybe even if you put Gio Lo Celso up there potentially, that is actually could be a decent, combination, because if they do spin their man, they will actually have even more space than other teams would grant us, when, you're picking up those positions in the half spaces. And again, like David said, if you don't know exactly what we're talking about, feel free to check out the best tactical breakdown of what we've seen so far from Antonio Conte and Spurs this season, which we did, I think, a bit last week, everybody. So please feel free to check it out, because, again, it's probably one of the most in-depth tactical breakdowns you could find all season regarding Antonio Conte.
And look, if you see a fire engine parked pitch side tomorrow, Tanguy and Ndombele is starting. That's his water supply for the game. So we definitely don't want to be seeing that. We have Moondog. He says, good evening, Jack and David. Good evening, Moondog. I hope you're keeping well, brother. It's good to see you. And he also says, please do not play Winks. No, look, I don't want to either. I'll be honest with you. Look, just know it. Don't have him anywhere near it. He's going to be too safe with his passing. He's going to be so afraid passing. You'd think it's Easter by the time he comes off the pitch. So for me, maybe Jack is right. Maybe if Højbjerg and Skip aren't available, you have to take a risk.
Let's say Skippy's available, Dave. I think Skippy has a better chance of being available. And I think Højbjerg is the one that I think everybody's saying might not be available for this one. So it might be Skippy alongside someone else. So Dave, if you had the choice between Winky or Tanguy and Dumb Fire Truck, who would be better to break down maybe Liverpool?
Oh, none of them. None of them. It's going to be a long, painful evening, and that's what I'd say. Everyone get the box of Panadol at the ready. It's going to be headache central. But if I had to pick, oh, Ladry, yeah, I have no confidence in any of them. I don't have confidence in Ndombele. I have no confidence in Dele Alli. If I had to, I'd probably put out Lo Celso. But my
Yeah,
biggest problem is with him. He finds all these
yeah,
wonderful spaces, but then cocks it up.
yeah,
Pisses me off. So, I mean, I'd
yeah,
rather not have any of them. I just hopefully there is a nice surprise and Skip and Højbjerg do partner tomorrow. That would
yeah.
be very, very nice. But look, we'll wait and see. And then Moondog says, I got a feeling a win for us 2-1. I
Love it.
love it. I love it. And look, you've got to believe you can win. Once you believe, then you start getting visions and you can see you can win. And then once you see it, you go out and you do it. That simple, Moondog. It is that simple, my man. Big yourself up, Moondog, and I hope you're keeping well.
Pick up the Huddersfield. Pick up the Huddersfield. If there's any pitch invader, if the pitch invader is wearing a pizza uniform, you know who it's for. You know who it's for. If you see the Uber Eats man, running onto the pitch, it's just because Tongi, has the the Uber Eats, package coming in. Big up Huddersfield. Big up Huddersfield. I do love it.
Yeah.
I do love it. But how can Tottenham win this game, everybody? We can finally go into this. And again, everybody, I'm kind of treating everybody with this one where it is going to be this time, instead of, kind of the arrows and the diagrams, I've gone for a bit of an animation. And what this is basically is that if we, instead of, like I said earlier, we could go for the route one approach to maybe break, this sort of press. But the other way we could do it is to have someone like maybe a Højbjerg could technically do this. Or if we really were taking risks and we didn't have Højbjerg available, it could be Tanguy or Gio in this sort of space. And it'd be kind of a press breaking scenario where they will have one-on-ones, these two midfielders with Oxlade-Chamberlain and Thiago. So if you do have maybe Tanguy or Gio picking up the ball here, if they can spin that midfielder and then just take it up the middle of the pitch, they will have lots of space to play players in behind. And that's what I'm kind of gone for here, everybody. So again, maybe one way we can break this sort of really, really scary gegenpress is just to maybe have a bit of bravery and have someone who can be that press breaker. I think, Skippy and Højbjerg could easily do it because Skippy, I think, is a fantastic ball carrier. I think Højbjerg is a very underrated ball carrier. I prefer it to be those two. But since, considering the rumors regarding, I think, Højbjerg's maybe potential, COVID case, it might have to be someone like a Tanguy or Winks. But I think the problem is that playing Winks and, Skippy is too much of a risk. So
do you know why? Do you know why I see him playing Winky over Ndombele, Jack? Because if we do go to press at some stage, and you've seen how he likes Skip and Højbjerg to push up as well, a bit like Liverpool, to kind of stop them from passing into the middle and getting an easy route out. You'd have more chance of Winks being able to repeat that rather than Ndombele, because if Ndombele doesn't do it, it gives them an out ball and they can play it through us and it'll cost you a goal very, very easily. I just don't think Conte will take that risk.
To be honest, Dave, I completely agree with you. But what I also must say is, take ourselves back to the watch along, Dave. It's not like really Winks likes to really pick up a man either when you really think about it as well.
Yeah, but that's also very true, to be fair, yeah.
No, but not to say, Tanguy does either.
Right.
Not to say Tanguy does either. I would say actually, I agree with you. I think Winks, if anybody, would have a much better chance of actually picking up his man than Tanguy would. But it's not to say that Winks, is necessarily, somebody that likes to, be tugging on someone's jersey or be right up in someone's grill, Dave. So, really, it's just two nightmare scenarios. I mean, this is nightmarish, I would say, the midfield that we might be picking tomorrow. So we're going to have to ask a lot of Skippy, I would say, everybody. But there it is, one way instead of the route one, like I said, which would be a very easy way to break this down. Another way would be to have someone pick it up in these half spaces or have maybe someone be a bit of a press breaker. And if anybody could be a press breaker, it could potentially be Tanguy and Ndombele, everybody. But we are going to move into the Spurs predicted lineup for this one. Yeah.
Just quickly, Moondog says they need to tell Winks he don't have to mark the ref. I know, honestly, against Leeds United, my man, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, I'm sitting there, right, and I'm watching Calvin Phillips come from behind him, right, drift in front of him, move out wide, then actually drift across them. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, okay, when's Winks going to cop on? Maybe use his peripheral vision and realize he's there. Doesn't do it. So then Calvin Phillips drifted right across him in front of his eyes. And I'm looking at Calvin Phillips. So I was like, okay, well, I know Leeds. They're going to look for Calvin Phillips. So that's where the ball's going to. They will give it to him. So all Harry Winks has to do is get up his arse. And what does he do? He watches him go and receive the ball. I lost my shit. I absolutely lost it. And that's something he has to cut out. I don't want to see. And again, another one, the marking space. It drives me mad. I mean, you look at it at times, and everyone else is marking, and you're like, where's Harry? There's a player free here. Where's Winks? And he's standing 10 yards away in space, pointing at people. Come and cover him. Come and cover him. He drives me insane. Drives me absolutely insane, Moondog. But look, it's not the Harry Winks show. Don't get me started, man. Don't get me started, Moondoggy.
But even the other David said the exact same thing, though, Dave. He said, or the space, as well. So, I mean, both the Davids are on the same page here. I mean, Harry Winks, he'd rather mark the dandelions, growing in the pitch than he would, probably, than the player. So, Moondog, you couldn't be more right, my man. You couldn't be more right. But this is...
I just want to welcome a few more people in, Jack. A few late people in. Puka Pete. We have Podrick O'Barron. Big yourself up. We have Samantha Bates in the house as well. We have Muncie Talks. Do you think we have a chance? We always have a chance, Muncie. Big yourself up, my man. And who else have we got? Anyone else new? Eddie Ryan's in the building. Big up, Eddie Ryan. Hope you're keeping well. I think we have everyone new that's come into the building, Jacko.
Big up, everybody that's joining us. Big up, Munzie. Thank you for joining us as well. The 3-4-3 is what we're going for. If it is this sort of lineup, everybody, it could be kind of like a 3-4-1-2. I'm thinking defensively, maybe Gio might help out someone like a Harry Winks and a Skippy in this scenario, because like we just explained earlier, Harry Winks, he'd rather mark the space or the referee than actually mark a Liverpool player. So maybe we'll have someone like, Gio kind of drop into that middle position and actually help out that midfield, defensively with that work rate. But we're gone for Hugo Lloris in goal, Sanchez outright, Eric Dyer in the middle, and Ben Davies on the left. I hope to see Ben Davies there. Of course, he's returning from COVID. We did see him in training, which could mean he could, be available for this one. He has had a bit of time to recover. Region could be available for this one. It seemed a bit weird with Antonio Conte's kind of reaction in the press conference about this one. He seemed to kind of say like he wasn't, like he hasn't been training, maybe that injury was a bit harsher than maybe we thought. But at the same time, take yourself back to maybe last week, where, Region was saying that this was, I think after that injury that he picked up, he said, don't take me out of your fantasy teams, everybody, which makes me think that he doesn't think it's so serious, which is a good sign, because when you hear it from the player itself, that can be a good reason. But Skippy, I think he's going to be available. Of course, we saw him in the training video as well. And then like maybe David kind of, I will say, had to rationally kind of explain, even though I could tell it pained him, it might be Harry Winks, instead.
I was in that position.
Rationally, like he had to own up to it and just say, what, we just have to be realistic. We have to, give the most accurate lineup, and it probably will be Harry Winks tomorrow. I will still say, everybody, if Højbjerg isn't available and you had to pick between Harry Winks and Tanguy and Ndombele in that midfield, I would rather take my risks with Tanguy, because I know Tanguy could break down the press on his day. He could probably break down that press better than Harry Winks can. But we are going to go as well, enough about those two. Emerson outright. And Emerson, I will say, everybody, hopefully he's up for a big defensive display against this team as well. Lo Celso for this one. This could be interesting. Lo Celso could be a press breaker in himself. And then Harry Kane, and then Sonny up top. Who's to say, though, again, it's really hard to know, like, whether these players are available. It could be the original lineup, or it could be maybe Lo Celso, Harry Kane, and Bergwijn, because maybe Sonny's still yet to return, really fully to health. But I am going to go for Sonny and maybe Lucas and Sonny interchange for each other, because that's the whole weird thing about this, everybody, is just the fact that, maybe, they can only play around 60 minutes or something like that. They might not be fully capable of lasting a full 90. It's really hard to tell. I guess that's just the situation that we're in, but that is the predicted lineup. The key player, as always, which we've done a million times, so I kind of will breeze through it, is going to be, Sonny again, the most goals in the Premier League, the second most assists with 2, the most key passes with 22, the most shot creating actions with 42. I mean, you look at those first 4 stats again, that's the reason why he will continue to be the key player to us, because that is, some of the most crucial stats you can have of any, kind of attacking player. The most progressive passes received, which is a pass of 10 yards or more with 95. The second most carries into the final third with 27, which is a great stat as well. The most carries into the penalty area with 15. And the second most players dribble pass with 24. I will say Lucas, though, is just absolutely tearing up that, that statistic in terms of players dribble pass. I think he's at like 38 or something like that, like players that he's already skinned this season. But Sonny, everybody, all these stats combined, it's why he's the key player. It's why he will always be the key player until someone, maybe takes some of these stats away from him. But I am going to do this, and I know he isn't available, but this is why I've done it, because it just shows to anybody that thinks that we'd be better off without Højbjerg, anybody that thinks they can slam Højbjerg is just simply wrong, because you just look at the stats right here. The guy is just irreplaceable at this moment in time. He has the most ball recoveries, which is a statistic about loose balls. So anytime there's a second ball, anytime, there's, a ball that's basically up to anyone to pick up, he is the best person to do it with 152 ball recoveries. That's the most the entire Spurs squad. The most tackles and interceptions combined with 69. The most successful pressures. And again, those three stats alone that you see right there, anybody that thinks that we could do well without Højbjerg, you're just losing basically, the midfield, kind of grit. You're losing that midfield kind of defensive awareness and whatnot. The most switches of play, which also people, sometimes don't like to rate Højbjerg's, passing ability. How on earth then does he have the most switches of play then with 21? The most passes into the final third as well. How could you then say he's not a good passer of the ball? Because that, again, is probably, I believe, like 10 times nearly as many passes into the final third as Winks has this season. Winks, he almost never passes it forward. That's, the literal stat for passing it forward would be a pass into the final third. That is a stat to, reminisce someone who likes to pass the ball forward. So he has the most in the entire squad with 79. I think Winks probably has 79 passes into the final third in his career. The third most players dribble pass with 20. That is actually quite a fantastic statistic, because you think about it, of all the other players that would be third behind Sonny and Lucas, he's only behind Sonny and Lucas in terms of players dribbled past, only behind Sonny and Lucas. And in fact, as well, I believe Sonny has only dribbled past 2 more players than Højbjerg this season. So it does, think about it. Like I said in the beginning of the season, Højbjerginho is maybe what we should be calling him more often, because the guy is a much better ball carrier than maybe he's given credit for. And as well, he is the most targeted player in our entire side, because we all know that he is a bit of the facilitator in the midfield. And again, the third most shot creating actions. And the players with the 2 most shot creating actions above him are Lucas and Sonny. And then it's Højbjerg. So think about it there as well. This is someone that we will be missing tomorrow. No matter the result that we get tomorrow, I will say we are significantly weakened without Højbjerg. So that is a bit of my speech. I think Højbjerg, as always, deserves a bit of respect, because you look at all these stats that he leads in, you look at all these stats that he competes in. He is absolutely somebody that I think sometimes deserves a bit more respect.
Yeah, and I just want to say this. Look, if there's anything described as hot takes, right, it's this crap where they come out and diss Højbjerg. He's not good enough at this, he's not good enough at that. I've heard you can't see it from the stadium, he's not good in this. I don't care, my eyes don't lie to me. Stick by the guy. At the end of the day, the players that should be pulling apart are the players that people make excuses for. Winks, Ndombele, Lo Celso, Dele Alli, all make excuses for them, but then want to pull apart Højbjerg. You can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm sitting there scratching my eyes. I'm like, what games are they watching? His passing has been fine. You know what I mean? What games are they watching? I just do not get it. I get it. Yeah, some people maybe want a bit of a better baller in there, but he's the best of what we have. The whole idea is to have him skip, turn the ball over. I don't understand it, and I'm so glad that he's come through this, and people are starting to realize that he is a good player. You know what I mean? He has that winning mentality that Tottenham need too. He wants to win. We want players that want to win. We want players that want to play, that want the responsibility, that want to be able to get involved in the game. And this guy is it. And not only that, but he's had goals this season that he didn't have last season. So, I mean, he's improving in my eyes. and just get off his back. I think he's a great
I
player.
mean, he's not going to be
Not
stumbling
great.
out of nightclubs, Dave. He's not making TikToks. He only cares about winning. He only cares about getting stuck in. Like you said, David, yes, he might not be the most world-class midfielder in the world, but at the same time, he is doing everything that the rest of our midfielders, maybe apart from Skippy as well, simply don't. Like, he just does the things that the rest of our midfielders can't. And so sometimes we just need to kind of take a step back and realize that this guy is actually more vital to this team. He does more for this squad than the likes of Gio, Ndombele, Harry Winks and Dele Alli have ever done. And
But
so
Jack,
in the last few
thing is,
seasons.
they go on about passing. Oh, he can't pass the ball. Okay, well, let's roll in. You defend Harry Winks. Let's roll him in. Okay, he's done nothing. Next, we've already given him a chance. Okay, you still want to complain about Højbjerg's passing. Let's bring in Ndombele. Okay, the guy won't move. So what do? Okay, send him on. He's had chances. Next, Dele Alli, he's also had chances. Next, Lo Celso, he's had chances. Next. So you're stuck with Højbjerg and Skip. So stop complaining, get off his back, and let's support the boys that actually deserve it.
Yeah. Wayne Bonner saying Højbjerg's passing is very, very underrated. He's a much better player than people think. I
Yep.
mean, Wayne, you're just singing to the choir here.
Oh,
And
I love
also as
Wayne.
well,
I
like
knew I loved Wayne.
Wayne, I mean, I could tell you really actually see the games well here, Wayne. And also think about it, Wayne. I mean, some of the passes he was playing in the first half against Norwich as well. Like David, I mean, the guy was just doing no look passes and, like playing little dinks, and doing switches of play. And it just was beautiful to watch. It simply was beautiful to watch.
I mean,
As
Jack,
well
it's
as
not bad for someone that can't pass the ball, is it?
no, I mean, genuinely, again, everybody to say that he isn't even good at creating chances. He has the third most shot creating actions in our entire team, which is basically a fancy way of saying chances created. He has the third most chances created in our entire team, and so like. I don't know, Dave. He isn't, like I said, he isn't, like the finest wine on the shelf. He isn't, the highest, he isn't the nicest rum or anything like that, but he certainly will do. And he certainly doesn't put very many feet wrong, Dave. So I don't know. I think Højbjerg, recently just deserves a bit more respect. And obviously Wayno agrees with us. Obviously he agrees with us, but yeah, he's a much better passer than people think.
Nah, he is. Big up Wayno. Big up, my man. Hope you're keeping well, brother. Moondog, and I really appreciate the support as well, Wayno. Moondog says, this is a game we need to sit back and hit on the break. I have stocked up on paracetamol and got a dark room ready to lay in tomorrow. Yeah, no, 100%. I'm the same, my man. I'm the same. I've sent the missus packing tomorrow. I thought I'd go off for the day, get out my hair, especially after, maybe go and stay in your mother's or something tomorrow night, because I might just need to sit alone tomorrow evening, and like you, in a dark room with plenty of paracetamol, so big up, Moondog. Really appreciate the support. But I do believe you probably will see us maybe sit back a little bit, especially maybe in the first half, try and catch them on the counter attack, which we're good at. We are good at catching teams on the counter. We've proved that under Conte. We can get goals. And look, me and Jack proved that Lucas Moura's, we had quite a few chances against Brentford and Norwich on the counter and stuff like that. With the way Conte has us set up, if they even defensively, we're ready to go on the counter. It's a crazy setup he has. I absolutely love it. But big up, Moondog.
Big on Moondog. Absolute legend. I could not agree more, my man. And to be honest as well, like there's kind of no shame in sitting back against, Liverpool because, that's the type of play style they play. They try to play a play style where they want to have the ball all the time. They want to bully you in your own half. They want to, kind of embarrass you in your own half of the pitch. And if a team wants to play that way, that does mean they expose themselves, kind of in the back line. It does mean they leave spaces in between the back line and the midfield. There are ways then to exploit them. If that's how they want to play, then you can exploit that. It's the same goes for Man City. Man City, they love to play, constant sideways passing, kind of control the ball, never lose the ball, never give it up, basically put you to sleep, kind of, rockabye baby sort of football. And, you can't really prevent them from doing that. So you have to play a different way. You have to sit back. You have to find different ways to hurt them than maybe normally you would. And there's no shame in that because that's the way that the other team wants to play. That mean you have to come up with another sort of style to be able to break it down. And like I said, there really is no shame in that.
No, definitely not. Definitely not, Jacko.
But let's break down again, everybody. How do Tottenham, in fact, attack? One of the ways that we could really, really hurt them. And again, considering we don't really exactly know who's going to be a part of the front three tomorrow, apart from Harry Kane. So the big one, like we've been saying 1,000 times, is that route one long ball to Harry Kane. And the reason why we're going for this, everybody, is because you take yourself back to that Brentford goal that we scored. It was kind of a route one kind of ball to Harry Kane, of Harry Kane dropping deep. We launched it up to him. He chested it down like, an absolute beautiful gazelle, and then, put it down to his feet, played in Reguilon in behind, and then we scored that easy tap. And the same thing goes for Leeds as well. When we were playing against Leeds, we just kept pinging it up to Harry Kane. He kept chesting it down. He kept holding it up and then just waiting for the supports. That's basically what this sort of goal is, everybody. That's what this sort of animation is. It's them just trying to, press us really hard. Sanchez can't find any options, so he finds Harry Kane there. Harry Kane then, touches it outside, plays in, the likes of Sessegnon. It could be Reguilon easily out there, but, originally when I made these animations yesterday, I went for Sessegnon just because in case, Reguilon isn't available. Again, it's a bit of a route one kind of style where you find Harry Kane in a bit of space in between the back four and the midfield. The midfield presses too high. The front three press too high. Sanchez goes for a bit of a kind of a long ball sort of approach, kind of a hopeful kind of ball up to Harry Kane. But when you do have Harry Kane, he'll find a way to chest it down. He'll find a way to spin his man, and then he'll play in that wing back who will be waiting for that sort of ball in behind, and he'll just be waiting for that sort of support as well. David, again, that Brentford goal that we scored, I feel like we could score that goal 1,000 times against any sort of team in the world. And it really does come through, that sort of Harry Kane ability to just hold up the ball and wait for the support.
Yeah. No, he's going to be absolutely crucial tomorrow, Jack. He has to be able to hold that ball because he's going to be our out ball, right? So you need him to be able to hold up that ball to try and push us up the pitch at times. So he's going to have to really be on it. He's going to be so crucial, Jack. He really is. He's going to have to be on his A game. He's going to have to be able to take the ball in at chest height. You know what I mean? A lot of the times as well, I reckon. So, look, he's a big man. Hopefully he can do that and just have a good game and get us up the field. I'll be honest with you. Do I see Kane scoring tomorrow? Unless we get a penalty, maybe not. Because I just feel that he's going to be used for a lot of hope play in this game. Because unless he gets Son and Lucas to drop a little bit deeper, which he could do, I just have a feeling Kane, everything going forward will come through Kane against Liverpool.
Yeah, he's going to have to drop deeper than we've seen in the last few games, you must say. He's going to be maybe having to do that because he's also our best creator in these positions as well. That must be said too. So, I mean, I couldn't agree more, Dave. It's actually well said, my man. Well said. Wayne Bonner saying Kane will be vital tomorrow. Sorry, say that.
I know, he's just saying what I just said.
Kane will be vital tomorrow. More so for his dropping off and playing his fastest. It's just a case of others reading it. I mean, Wayne, you might as well just run the show yourself, my man. You're way ahead of us on this. David, he came out with the Højbjerg comment, singing to the choir on this one. Now as well, he's saying that, for this game and, compared to maybe the games against, Leeds, maybe against Brentford, especially Norwich as well, he's going to have to do a bit more of what we've been used to in seasons past, where Harry Kane dropping deep, kind of facilitating, the link up play, finding players that are making runs in behind for him. He's going to have to wait for that support because he's going to be that out ball. Whereas before in other matches, it was actually Sonny and Lucas, as we broke down again. And one of the most best tactical breakdowns you've seen probably in your lifetime last week. We saw that Lucas and Sonny were in fact the out ball when it came to the counterattacks. I would say for this game in particular, and I think Wayne agrees with me and has said it even for us, Dave, it might be Harry Kane that might be more that facilitator for kind of the counterattacks.
And you know what, Jack? Maybe even for the first 15, 20, 25 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kane dropping in where Son is and Son playing where Kane usually plays. Just for the first couple to maybe try and catch them out and catch them with a quick goal, get Kane on the ball, get it in behind Son. I really wouldn't be surprised to see it. But Kane is going to be crucial tomorrow, holding up that ball and trying to get us up the field. Because, look, Lucas, he's great at driving with the football. Son, another player, good at driving with the football. But with their press, we will be hitting long balls out, and we have to get them towards Kane. And the thing is, I don't want to see centre-backs hitting the ball nowhere near Harry Kane's direction. And people blame Harry Kane for not getting on the end of it. I mean, I've played up there front in that lonely man role. There's nothing you can do if the ball's not near you. You can anticipate to go left or right. But then I've been in them games where you can guarantee you anticipate to go to the left, the defender will kick over the right-hand side. So that you're always told stay in and around the middle, and that's where they should be pinging you because then they don't even have to think about it. You're there. So I don't want to see. don't want people to get things mixed up that if we do hit long ball and there's nowhere near Harry Kane, they start blaming Harry Kane, because what are you supposed to do if it's nowhere near you? They have to give you a fighting chance to be able to hold up the ball too. At the end of the day, it is a team game. It's not just one individual. So if they're going to ping it long as an out ball, put it in and around Harry Kane's area and nowhere else.
Yeah, well said, Wayne. Well said, Wayne. Big yourself up, Wayne. Honestly, you could be running this show for us, my man. Gogma saying ping, Kane, goal. There you are. I mean, it's like we said, it's Route 1, Gogama. You don't have to think very hard, and it's just beautiful to watch. It again, it'd just be the greatest goal, kind of to just smack Liverpool in the mouth. It's like, you know what? We don't need any fancy sort of pressing. We don't need any sort of fancy sort of link up play or anything. All we need is just Harry Kane hit it up to his chest. He'll knock it down, and he'll find a runner in behind. It doesn't need to be rocket science. Sometimes, Gogama, it really doesn't. All you need is just a bit of magic via HK.
Yeah, no, big up Gogoma. I hope you're keeping well. Absolutely love it. Truth sets you free. Højbjerg in 67 matches for Spurs, 4 goals and 5 assists.
Here, I'll take you up one, Truth. 179 matches for Harry Winks. Actually, 4 goals and 5 assists. And also, just to correct you, I just looked it up. It's in fact, I think it's 6 goals and 5 assists for Højbjerg in those 67 matches, my man. So take yourself to, Harry Winks, who's played 179 for us, 4 goals and 5 assists. And I think Tanguy Ndombele has a worse record than even that, 4 goals and 5 assists. Gio Lo Celso has a worse record than that, of 4 goals and 5 assists. So again, you can't catch me on the stats, my man. You can't catch me on them.
I mean, it's not bad for a defensive midfielder. Let's be honest. We have to understand his role. He's a defensive midfielder that's asked to do the work going forward because others can't do it. So in fairness, I'm not going to sit there and complain about that stat for a holding midfielder, to be honest with you.
I think he has more goals and more assists than Tanguy does. He has more, goals and assists, and he might even than Gio Lo Celso might as well. He already has way more goals and assists than Harry Winks has, and Harry Winks has played more than 100 matches than this guy. So I mean,
funny enough, I don't see Højbjerg ever being in the position begging the manager for first team football. I wonder why. Because he'd go out there and he'd put it in. Whereas Harry Winks, he's played twice as many games, if not three times as many games. Less goals, same amount of assists. And he's in a position where he's begging managers for first team football all the time. So for me, I'll take Højbjerg every day of the week. But look, Jack, let's keep kicking on, my man.
Let's keep kicking it on. Moving on to the next one here, everybody, which again, it probably kind of pains David or I to even see this one. It kind of pained me to even make it. But if we had to go with either Tanguy or Winks tomorrow, I'm going to go for potentially Tanguy creating something.
It had nothing to do with this disclaimer, nothing to do with it.
It is going to be maybe Tanguy as a press breaker. We basically saw it in that sort of way of breaking down Liverpool. I'm not going to play it too many times in case Tanguy doesn't play tomorrow and it is Harry Winks instead alongside Skippy. But if it is Skippy and Harry Winks, then this is pretty much void and not relevant. If it is Skippy and Tanguy tomorrow, this was what potentially we could use because Tanguy could be a press breaker. Basically here, it's the Salah dribbling at the defense. He tries to slide it across the 18. Eric Dyer does well and, wins the ball there. He picks out, our midfielder who's supposed to be Skippy there, but I accidentally put Winks. Then you find Tanguy. Tanguy then breaks past Thiago, who slips it in behind to the front 3, and we just score from there. And I did say down there on the bottom, despite Tanguy being lazy defensively, he can break any press on his day. But then again, Dave, when does that day come? Probably becomes like a leap year or something like that every 4 years, seriously. But it might be tomorrow. Who knows, Dave? It might be tomorrow. But the other way we could technically break it down, Dave, which someone who is likely to start tomorrow, and it's basically the same sort of concept here, is actually Gio being more of a press breaker, actually, when you think about it. Because Gio, could actually be a bit similar as well, where if Gio picks up maybe positions in the middle, he could then, find that sort of pass that he did something like an NS Mura kind of goal. And Harry Kane here kind of just chips it over the keeper where Alisson, comes out, of his box and tries to maybe take it away from Harry, and Harry just slides it past him. But if Gio, David, we spoke about how the front 3 will stay very narrow, in Antonio Conte's system. When you kind of think about it, Dave, that kind of suits Gio when you look at it that sort of way. He could actually do quite well picking up these half spaces in between the back 4 and the midfield. He could cut in on his left and then maybe find that slip through ball, in behind for someone like a Harry Kane. So I would say, if Gio is playing a part of that front 3 and he still has someone like, Sonny and Harry Kane alongside him, Dave, I don't know. Maybe we could back his chances to potentially do something in that, because he is playing narrow. He is playing in the half spaces. You would say if he doesn't do well in that sort of scenario, then I've completely given up on him, because I would say that is sort of tailor made for him if he
Do you know
picks
what
up
it
the
is,
half
though, Jack?
spaces the way that Lucas would.
Do you know what it is with Gio? It's like you could have everything perfect to get to Gio, but he's just clumsy. He is just clumsy with his passing. Unfortunately, he's not one of these players who would rather get it in behind 9 times out of 10. If it goes in behind, it goes in behind. As long as he just wants to be able to put an outside of the bin boot spin on it and inside of the boot spin on it. When sometimes it's just like, just play the fucking pass. What are you doing? Just play a normal pass. You know what I mean? Why are you trying all this fancy shit? Just play the normal pass. It's easy. Why are you trying to make something look easy so much harder than what it is? The one against United still drives me mad. Son's running in behind. Gio decides he'll hit an outside of the boot, left-footed pass. It's like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, you have to play it this side of Sonny, so it's in his path. He plays it behind Sonny. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's just take care of your passing. And this is what bothers me with this guy. It's not his work rate. It's not the energy. That's fine. But it's what he does with the football. I think there was a Europa League conference game. We went 1 or 2-0 up. I think it was actually against Mora, the first game. Was it the first game in the group?
Yeah.
Playing well. All of a sudden, we went 2-0 up. And then you're seeing Gio misplaced passes, trying all this fancy shit. Just play the game of football. Sometimes playing it simply is the best way. You know, and this is my problem with the guy. He's just too clumsy. He doesn't take care of what he does.
And even that sitter, I believe, Dave, what was it, against Burnley or
He's had a few of them this season.
Yeah, he's had a few this season. I think 2 of them come to mind. One was against Burnley, where he just decided to go for an unorthodox finish. And then the other one was against Vitesse, I believe, at home as well, where he went for an unorthodox finish and decided to not finish it the way that everybody and their mother would try to finish it. He went for something different. And that Man United example, Dave, there's no better example. I mean, why on earth is he going for... He's also on his left foot as well. Yeah. He has an easy inside the foot pass in that position. And so hopefully in this situation, Dave, he actually does that. And, but again, kind of like the Tanguy threat from before, maybe on his day, but that day, happens every full moon, which I will say, everybody, doesn't happen very often. So those are the 3 threats, everybody. If actually, just so I can gauge people, whether they like the 3D animations. I don't really as much, but I've gone for a bit of a 3D animation on it as well. I could go for more of the 3D animations if people want to take a look at it. I personally think they might work for certain animations. Sometimes they don't really work. I think they're a bit too staticky, but if people like it this way, do let me know. What you can get from the 3D animation, though, as you can tell, the Harry Kane does a bit of the chip there, which I know David, would like to see actually, but there it is, everybody, the 3D animation as well, in case you like it, in case you enjoy the 3D animations, do let me know as well, because I could certainly convert it to those if you like. That's what, David and I like to do. We like to treat you guys, with these sort of, kind of ways, maybe it doesn't have to be 2D every time for you. We can go 3D. We do you with the still images, but we also hit you with the 3D, almost FIFA-like animations as well on top.
They're loving it. Honestly, you keep an eye on this. By next season, it'll all be Sky Sports-esque. Trust me. People are loving the 3D, Jacko.
Truth Sets Free says, Højbjerg, I think he means we'll take crap until they bring in a Cam. Truth, and maybe I was being a bit short with you, so I do apologize, because, I just don't, I think Højbjerg, he's already outdoing what he's been expected. He came in to be a holding midfielder. He came in to be that holding destroyer. He came in to be what he is good at. And we've been asking him to do more than that. And I think he's actually done quite well at doing more than what's expected of him. And until we get in that kind of that Kessié, until we get in that, maybe that, Cam into the building, maybe, like a Barella-like player, we'll continue to have to ask a lot of Skippy and Højbjerg. We'll continue to have to ask them to do more than maybe what they're exactly capable of, or what isn't really necessarily their biggest strength, is maybe what I would actually better say. It's not like they can't do something that a Cam can do, but it's not really necessarily their best asset. It's not their best sort of strength. And so once we get that Cam into the building, we'll again start to see perhaps maybe the best of Højbjerg, once again. But, in order to get that cam into the building, we're going to have to get rid of, the Dele Allis of the world. We're going to have to get rid of the Tongis of the world. We're going to have to get rid of the Gios of the world, because those are three of the same sort of player, and none of them are doing anything, and none of them are trusted by the manager. So hopefully we can get one of them out, and that means we can get a different sort of cam in.
But this is my problem. Why should it be taking crap? Let's have a bit of understanding about the situation. Højbjerg was brought in to be a ball-winning midfielder. He does his job. Skip was brought in, or Skip was there to be a ball-winning midfielder. We all said last season we wanted Skip and Højbjerg to rotate each other and give each other rest. Skip to give Højbjerg rest. Now, let's have a bit of understanding on the situation. The reason why Højbjerg is being asked to go forward and play a bit forward and a bit out of his comfort zone is purely because we have 3-4 other donkeys there who will not do the work consistently. Whereas with Højbjerg, he tries. You know what I mean? With the others, they could not give a toss about Tottenham. It's clear. We've seen it. Ndombele plays unreal against Newcastle, shit again, Enes Mora. So if he cared, he'd be making sure he'd be taking care of what he's doing on the ball. If Dele Alli cared, he wouldn't be missing for 3 years. If Winks cared, he'd be in the first team. This is the problem. Stop giving these guys slack. Understand the situation and understand that they're being asked to do something that they shouldn't be in the team doing. And until we get in a player to do that, cut them slack. Because what we don't want to do, and what I've seen over the last few months, I mean, is people putting down our best players. Same with Harry Kane. I'm not even going to go into it, but if we had that midfielder that everyone's talking about, well, then you'd be seeing Harry Kane getting a lot more chances. And this is the thing. Stop pulling down our best players and stop making excuses for Winks Dele. Every time you get a new manager, people are sitting there with hard-ons. Oh, maybe we can see this. Maybe they can do that. Forget it. They do not care. It's the nuts and bolts of the situation. They couldn't care. And if they don't care, you're not going to see anything that you think you're going to see. So stop berating the players that are actually out there week in, week out, trying because they care, and start laying the blame at the players' doors that don't care. You want to have a gripe with someone that's not doing their passing? Instead of going and ripping Højbjerg apart, sit there and go, okay, well, why isn't Ndombele out there doing the passing? Why isn't Lascelles out there? Stop going to the immediate player, Højbjerg, and start questioning the other players that were brought in to do that job. And that's where I'm at with it. They shouldn't be taking the fans' crap. And that's my point, the truth.
Yeah, and that truth. I mean, once we get maybe somebody that can replace those players that David just mentioned in maybe that sort of cam role, will again, add a bit of respect, and, hopefully they'll take a bit less crap, like you said, Truth. But big yourself up, my man. Big yourself up, Truth. William Kelly saying, looks like Winks will be playing in the midfield. I'm going back to my original prediction. We're fucked. I mean, seriously though, William Kelly, that's kind of my problem is, it's why I put Højbjerg as the unsung hero, because you put yourself in this position when Højbjerg and Skip aren't both available. That then means that Winks or Tanguy will play. And we all know what that means. Trouble. So it then means we need to put a bit more respect on Højbjerg, but it also means that we need to fix that midfield problem more than we have actually ever realized. It's something that David and I have probably been saying here for quite a long time from the very beginning when it came to that transfer window. If David and I were to spend 70 million on a player, it'd probably be more likely we'd spend it on the midfield than we would actually in the attack. Because at the end of the day, it is that midfield that needs a significant upgrade. It needs a huge upgrade. And it also, there's more dead wood, I would say, in the midfield than there is even in other parts of our pitch at the moment. Because again, Dele Alli missing for 3 to 4 years. Gio Lo Celso seems to be an enigma of a player. Just don't really know what he is. Tanguy and Ndombele plays when he wants to. 3 players in the exact same position who should be getting into the starting lineup that simply just find a way not to, because they probably A, don't care about the club, and B, actually maybe to a degree just don't really know how to maybe earn their way into the first team and actually do anything to impress the manager. And then Harry Winks, we don't even need to get started on. So those are 4 players that take up midfield positions that are all, to everybody's knowledge and everybody's common knowledge, completely useless. And so when you think about it that sort of way, that means we only have 2 available midfielders, David, as well as William Kelly, that are actually good enough to even play and start in this team. We need to ramp up the midfield. I know we need a backup striker. I get that we need a backup striker, but the way that I just broke it down, I think it's probably quite clear that we need more world-class midfielders or just decent midfielders in the squad.
No, absolutely spot on. And big up William Kelly. Really appreciate the support, my man. Wayne Bonner says Lo Celso is a good player, but he also seems to try too much. He doesn't focus when he should and plays either the wrong pass or a weak pass. And this is the problem. And this is my gripe with the whole thing. You pay that extra 10 million. Bruno Fernandes wanted to come in. And the reason why I'm going to keep repeating myself until it's clear, but the reason why you pay that extra 10 million for Bruno Fernandes, you look at the Celso and Bruno Fernandes, they can more or less do the same things. They can pass a ball, they can shoot a ball, they can run about. But what you're getting with that extra 10 million is you look at Bruno Fernandes' mentality compared to Lo Celso's. Bruno Fernandes cares. You see him berating his own players on the pitch. You see him taking care of his passing. You see he wants to win. You see the impact he had on the United team as soon as he came in. You look at Lo Celso, did he have an impact on the Tottenham team? And I know people are going to say, oh, well, he had that 2 month spell under Jose Mourinho. Couldn't care less. It's 2 months. 2 months out of an 8-month season. Not good enough. And he's been here a couple of years. And this is what makes Bruno Fernandes a very good player and Lo Celso only a good player, because Bruno Fernandes cares about what he's doing. Lo Celso doesn't. Lo Celso should have had the impact on our team what Bruno Fernandes had at United. And it didn't happen because Bruno Fernandes has a better attitude than Lo Celso. And that is Lo Celso's problem. He couldn't care. He doesn't care for football at Tottenham. He may leave and go to another club and he might get that passion and die for the badge, whatever else. But at Tottenham, he just doesn't care. It's clear for me to see. He just does not care. He's happy if he plays and he's happy if he doesn't, in my opinion. But big up, Wayne. Really appreciate the support. But I do get what you're saying.
Big up, Wayne.
Boomer says, ooh la la, 3D, nice. No, 100%. A lot of people liking the 3D animations. So I think we will maybe get one or two together for you for the next one.
They seem to like the 3D, and also, I would definitely like to satisfy, what Goguma wants to see as well, because she absolutely loves tuning in for Stats with Jack. So if she likes the 3D, we'll include a bit more of the 3D for you, Goguma, because again, it's what Dave and I want to do. We want to make the most informed tactical previews and insights that you can find in the business. So big yourself up, and it's what you deserve as well. True Sets Free says, Daigle was right. It is Levy's fault. I mean, it's Levy's fault for even keeping around some of the players that, we've had at this club for some time. I mean, the guy's too cheap to get rid of Dele Alli. He's been too cheap to get rid of, maybe Tanguy, when we all knew that Tanguy didn't want to be here the moment he came. He's too cheap to, to get rid of Gio or Harry Winks. He's given Harry Winks new contract after new contract after new contract. And so, I mean, everything does stem back up to Levy, but you can also look, a bit further down the ladder as well. Truth, it does go a lot of ways, but absolutely, I mean, you're singing the truth, my man.
No, big up, Truth Sets You Free. Really appreciate it. But look, Jack, let's wrap it up for everybody. What have you got for us?
We're going to wrap it up, everybody, with the players to target and then, a bit of the key battles, of course. Players to target, we exposed, before Trent Alexander-Arnold. Take yourself back to that, Champions League night against Real Madrid. He can get exposed defensively, really, because also he gets way too far forward, but also in the one-on-one situations, he's not a great one-on-one defender. And so if you have someone like a Sonny, if you have someone maybe like a Reguilon as well coming up and overlapping against him, he will struggle. So he is always a player to target. Konate is going to be a player to target, Dave. I think he's a great defender, but he hasn't played very much this season. So I feel like, maybe he might struggle, because since he just hasn't had a lot of experience in the Premier League, that's kind of simple as it's a bit kind of basic, but maybe he'll struggle just because he hasn't had too much experience. And then Thiago could be a player that I feel like we could target because like David said, he has the most yellow cards in the Liverpool squad. He does kind of like to take down a man when he probably doesn't need to. He can kind of, be kind of turned and spinned and, maybe a bit too easily at times. And also he will venture pretty far forward and then he'll be kind of asked to, block up, kind of the counterattack. And he's not really the best sort of player to kind of stifle a counterattack. So he definitely can be targeted. And also just because he does like to grab an early yellow card as well.
No, 100%. He does. He absolutely loves the yellow card. Look, for me, I'd definitely be targeting him. I think he's erratic in midfield sometimes. Look, Trent Alexander-Arnold, look, like you said, the space in behind. Ibrahim Konate and Joe Matip. Be interesting to see how they get on, It'd be very interesting to see how they get on, Jacko. Just quickly, James Fitzgerald, I'm just going to say, I'm not reading that super chat. You know, unless you're playing nice, to be honest with you. So I'm not reading that super chat. But William Kelly, he says, how long have we all been saying these players need out, but who we get in will not be much better without the proper funds? I'm going to swim over to London and strangle the F out of Levy, and I can't swim. Jack, what would you say to William Kelly?
Oh, I mean, genuinely, William Kelly, it feels like, we might as well just put ourselves in an insane asylum. We've been saying for so long we need these players out of the club, and hopefully it might happen this January window. But I believe it was you, William Kelly, who at one stage said, even on one of your own fan show, who said, we sometimes are kidding ourselves to think that we could get them all out in one window. We've been kidding ourselves that we could get them all out last window. We were kind of slamming Paratici for not getting out all the deadwood in one window. And we've been probably agreeing with each other, William Kelly, that some of this deadwood, it's so dead and it's so rotten that you actually find it very hard to even ship them on and move them out, especially when you have Daniel Levy holding you back, not letting be able to sell them for a cut price, 2-for-1 deals, kind of scenarios. So, I mean, seriously, it's going to take longer to get some of this deadwood out than maybe people will probably give, us time for. But seriously, we need the proper funds, in order to rebuild the squad to a degree. William Kelly, we almost need a whole new squad. I hate to say it, we just need a whole new squad in general. But maybe William Kelly will get you a life raft, over, to London, and hopefully
Jack,
maybe
you're kind. I was going to say, you better start blowing up them armbands.
They need a bit of floaties. We'll get them some floaties. Hopefully, the winds and, the currents will, take you to London a bit sooner, as well. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, William Kelly, you just take a bit of a skywalk, sort of trip, tour from Daniel Levy. And we all know what happens after that when you're on the skywalk with Daniel Levy. And hopefully you can be the assassin, my man. But big yourself up, brother. I really appreciate you, and really appreciate you for the big one as well, William Kelly. It does go a long way, my man.
Yeah, you have no idea how much it really helps, William. So big yourself up. And Jack, I am going to bring up James because he is only messing. I just wanted to make sure whether it was in a nice way or not. He is only having a banter with you. He has said that. So we will bring it up. He says, Micheál Martin is your dad, American boy.
I don't know. Who is Micheál Martin? I don't get it.
So Micheál Martin is the politician over here, Jack.
Oh, see, yeah. Sorry, but, I'll have to inform myself. I'll inform myself a bit on, kind of the politics bit later, maybe, James. But appreciate you, brother.
Big
really
up,
appreciate.
Big
really
up, Jamesy.
I wish that I wish I was a bit smarter, when it came to European politics. So, James, I'll inform myself and I'll get back to you on it.
James, let me know what you think. Why you think he's Micheál Martin, my man? Let me know, Jamesy. But big yourself up. Really appreciate the support. And Neil, takes balls to do. It takes balls to do. This guy, look. My opinion is that he misjudged something the other day. We had a discussion, and to come in here and apologize so publicly, fair play to you. Absolute big bollocks on you, Neil. And I greatly appreciate it, my man. But look, forget about it. It's done. Let's move on. We're all yids at the end of the day. And let's go on and keep supporting this great club of ours. Big yourself up, Neil Shafton.
Legend.
And I hope you're keeping well, brother.
Hopefully you're psyching yourself up for tomorrow, Neil. It's also going to be an early, not too early, actually, of a match for you tomorrow, Neil. I will say, back in the West Coast, 8:30 used to be a much better match than, maybe the 5:30s and the 4:30s of the world when I do think about it. So, hopefully it's not too bad for you. And also, Neil, I mean, it's all behind us. It's all past us. Yeah. Hopefully you just stick with us. And, it's just a bit of a misunderstanding. And like David has said before, and like I've said before, what you were trying to do, what your original message was, what your goal was, is something we are fully support and are fully behind, because it is what you think, was happening. Absolutely. We wouldn't stand for. So you were trying to do the right thing, but it's all behind us now, my man. So big yourself up.
No, 100%. And look, let's keep cracking on. We promised we'd let people go to bed early, but that's not the case.
No, it never is, especially against the Scousers, Dave. They don't let you go to bed early. But the key battles here, I've gone for Stevie B because, again, everybody, I did this kind of way ahead of time, so it could be Sonny tomorrow instead of Stevie B. Basically, it doesn't really matter. It's, whoever's playing out on the left wing and Harry Kane against the likes of Ibrahim Konate and Joel Matip. The reason being is because whoever's playing on that left wing is going to be that player that is going to be combining with Harry Kane, making runs in off of Harry Kane's hold-up play. And that means that Joel Matip and Ibrahim Konate. It's going to be a big battle between them and those two players. So that is, something that we always have to look out for. Instead of Stevie B, probably should be Sonny there, but just kind of think about it that sort of way. Whoever's going to be combining with Harry Kane on the left and making runs in behind those center backs is going to be a major key battle. The other one is going to be Emerson and Sanchez's side. So the right-hand side of our defense against Robertson and Mane. Feel like that's a very huge key battle as well, because Robertson works very hard. He's also maybe a bit more defensive than, Trent is, but he certainly gets forward as well. Robertson does. And we all know Mane is absolutely rapid and is also very, very strong, athletic, intelligent sort of player as well. So Emerson is going to have his work cut out for him, as well as the grass-eating Sanchez as well. So hopefully, they'll be on their best today. And I do feel like, if Emerson has a good defensive display against these guys, I think, again, maybe like kind of Højbjerg scenario, Dave, hopefully he'll have a bit of respect, put on his name, because I think he's been fantastic defensively this season, Emerson. But this will be a real test. This is probably the meanest sort of test that you could find, is having Robertson and Mane coming down your side. I mean, that is tough. That is tough. So hopefully Emerson can handle it. Hopefully he can handle it.
No, hopefully. And look, Neil, put a bowl of that Conte pasta salad aside for me. I love a bit of pasta salad, my man. I'm jealous of your wife getting to eat that. Big yourself up, Neil. Big yourself up, brother.
Big up, my man. Key battles also include Sessegnon, and this could be Reggie instead. If Reggie is actually available for this one, it could be Reggie and Tanganga. This is, again, what I originally did as potentially the case, because I was trying to just bear in mind this whole COVID scenario. I was kind of just so daunted by what the case was before. And so it maybe could be Ben Davies and Reguilon on this scenario instead, going up against Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Again, that is just the stuff of nightmares, coming up against Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mo Salah. So it could be Tanganga and Sessegnon. It could also be Ben Davies and Reguilon, or maybe a version of that combination as well. But coming up basically against Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be a real test. And I don't think we have to explain why, because Trent was our unsung hero for all of the things that he does statistically and all the things that, he's been fantastic with creating this season. And then Mo Salah kind of goes without saying. But that is the end of it. Yeah.
Just quickly, I will say, I really do hope Reguilon is available down that side. I do fear if it is Sessegnon for whatever reason, I fear, I think this game could come too early for the kid. To be honest with you, with the long injury layoffs and he's had for that. So yeah. I definitely think Reguilon is very, very important down that side. Correct. I really do believe that. But big up, Jack.
There it is, everybody. That is the end of the Stats with Jack. Hopefully you come out of this being the most informed Spurs fans that you can be coming into the pool game tomorrow. Even so, if you're not even optimistic, about this match, at least reasons why you shouldn't be optimistic, is because you got all the stats, and everything and all the tactics to know why you feel like we probably don't have much of a chance tomorrow. So either you're super optimistic and you learned why we should be super optimistic through this show, or, if you feel like you weren't convinced, you probably got a lot from this show to show why you shouldn't be convinced. We don't really try to convince you of anything. We just lay out the tactics. We just lay out the stats. We show you why Liverpool are good. We show you why we can maybe be good in this match. It's kind of actually quite neutral when you think about it. So everybody, hopefully you can be the most informed person going into the pub tomorrow, going into the match tomorrow, or even just sitting home at your sitting home in your living room, watching the game tomorrow. So hopefully everybody, like I said, you enjoyed the most, kind of, I would say, factual tactical preview out there.
No, absolutely brilliant job, Jack. Absolute brilliant job. Smashed it as always. Guys, you have no idea the amount of time this guy puts in for this show specifically, let alone others that we do. So, absolutely always, if you do get the chance, even if you're busy and you don't have time to pop in, just always smash a like on the stream for Jack or whatever it may be, guys. But look, before we let Jack plug his channel, anyone, if you do want more of this, where we will be tomorrow, I think we have a great preview lined up, to be fair.
Yeah,
very, very good questions in there as well. Very thought-provoking questions. Yeah. So, guys, make sure you do come back here at 12:30 tomorrow, where it'll be myself, Jack, and 2 other people, and we'll be talking our way through on the build-up to the game and getting everybody pumped up. So that's 12:30 tomorrow. But look, Jack, where can people find you, my man?
I mean, Dave, we, have the holidays coming up, very soon. We probably have a lot of things on, kind of Santa's list and whatnot. Maybe some of those things include maybe players that you could be going after, to fix Tottenham Hotspur. So maybe just to put in, a more informed, kind of, wish list, maybe to the man in the red hat, you might as well, head on over to this channel where you can basically say, listen, I need a left-sided center back, Mr. Claus, I need a new central midfielder. I need a striker up top. And, he's going to say, well, that's kind of a lot to ask for. And he says, nope, I've already got it covered. I'm going to do it for under 60 million, under 70 million as well. All three of those players. If you're kind of interested in maybe how to maybe fix this squad and maybe less than 60 million pounds, less than 70 million pounds, you probably head on over to Flat Cap Euro Talk. It will be your Bible come, the January window, especially when maybe players that were rumored with, players that supposedly Spurs are maybe keeping an eye on. I will always review them. Even recently, I interviewed reviewed that Swedish guy, Matthias Svanberg. Didn't know anything about him. Did a big review on him. Kind of enjoyed it over there as well. I did it on Gleison Bremer, someone that we should probably be going after as well. A lot of people think, he's very talented. It's also your channel to maybe make suggestions for maybe players that you feel like would fix Spurs too. So it's not even just my ideas. It's a lot of maybe the Harris Army's ideas that are put out over there as well. And I'm honestly always catered to, satisfy you guys and what you guys want to maybe see fix this club. It's a great place to think about fixing Tottenham Hotspur. It's a great place to think about, talking about transfers. It's also just European football content in general that you maybe like as well. So head on over to Flat Cap Euro Talk. Would really appreciate the support, everybody, please.
Nah, guys. So here it is. The link is here in the community section. Big push for 1,000 is on. Let's make Jack's Christmas. Let's get into 600 before the Christmas, guys. Let's do it. Everybody, do get over there. Smash your subscribe button. If you're like me, you keep a Bible in the top drawer. Well, this is your Bible for the transfer window. So do get over there and smash that subscribe button. But look, guys, we have come to an end. Hopefully, everybody, you've enjoyed tonight's show. Hopefully, we're all informed going into this game tomorrow. Make sure we see you all back here at 12:30 tomorrow. That's 12:30, half an hour after midday, where we will be bringing you live build-up for tomorrow's game. And I am super excited. I will be off to bed early. It's like Christmas Eve for me. I mean, the quicker you get to sleep, the quicker the game comes around tomorrow. Guys, make sure everybody get your comments in underneath this video once it ends. Throw in a thumbs up. Jack is great. Dave's a prick. Whatever you want. I do not mind. Get your comments in below as well. Make sure you smash that like button on the stream. And most importantly, the subscribe button as well. Big push for 6K is on. If I don't see any of you back here before Christmas, I want to say a massive happy Christmas to everybody and a happy New Year, because I know some people fly home or fly off or whatever, etc., etc. So you might not get the chance to tune in. But if you do, well, then I'll see you back here Christmas Eve to keep all the way to Christmas Eve to keep wishing everybody happy Christmas. But if I don't, happy Christmas. Have a good New Year. But guys, roll on the game tomorrow, 12:30 for the preview. Come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust. Let's fucking have it.
Conte we trust and Conte we believe. Pizza night tomorrow night, lads.